meeting with the happy
Yes, we are going to call the meeting together Tuesday, February 18th at 5:32 p.m. We're having a study session. And Mr. Domer, roll call, Mr. Domer. Mr. Domer, roll call, please.
Hey, it's your birthday, so you're allowed some errors. So,
Who said I'm not leaving halfway through?
Ooh.
Councilmember Crosby.
Present.
Councilmember Kashifagita.
Here.
Councilmember Lau. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Present.
Birthday boy, Mayor Hepburn.
Present and 68 as of today.
68 is great.
2 years from 70. And kicking it. Okay, tonight we have two study session items. First, you want to get it out of your system now? You know, you're sitting next to him, okay? And you're sitting next. Will you control him?
The night is young.
Yeah, that's true. We only have it to go up. Tonight we have two study session items. First, we are going to be receiving an update from the Inland Valley Humane Society President and CEO, Nicole Bresciani. Ms. Bresciani, please come forward. I pass by there all the time because Gray Bar Electric is right across, and they've done a lot of work on that sanitation area. It looks like they're cleaning that up pretty nice, but your place looks beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, they tore down the incinerator last year.
Yeah.
So making a lot of headway on cleaning out the.
You mean the smell? Less the smell?
No, that will never change.
I know, but it's better.
Yeah.
It is better.
It is actually.
Better.
Yes.
Yeah, but it looks nice.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff, and community members. My name is Nicole Bresciani. I am President and CEO of the Inland Valley Humane Society and SPCA. We are located at 500 Humane Way in the city of Pomona. We have been partnering with the city of Laverne since 1951. City is one of our 4 original partners, along with Claremont, Azusa, and the city of Pomona. Last year, we celebrated the big 75. And so you have been a part of our story for a majority of that time. We service 12 agencies, approximately 1 million people, counties of San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and then we have a sheltering contract with the city of La Habra in the county of Orange. In 2015, for those of you who don't know, we asked all of our cities that partner with us to sign resolutions in getting to zero, and that's zero euthanasia of healthy adoptable animals, which we maintain still today. Our mission is very laborious in length, but basically what this is saying is that we want to advocate for animals, we want to provide accessibility for pet owners, access to care, access to the ability to adopt. Trying to break down barriers is really what we're about. And so as an SPCA, we have humane officers. That is unique to humane societies and SPCAs. Humane officers cannot have that designation working for cities or counties. And they can enforce cruelty laws throughout the state of California. So shelter services, what do we do? So we are an open access shelter, and what that means is that while we do managed intake to manage our population and manage what comes through the door, we do not turn away pets or owners indiscriminately. There are closed access shelters. Sometimes they're humane societies, or they'll consider themselves no-kill. And what they do is they select. So if you have a dog that may not be pretty or maybe old, and you say, can you take my pet? They will say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that, because they know the likelihood of them being able to place that pet is probably very slim, which increases euthanasia numbers. So we do managed intake. So if an owner has a pet and wants to relinquish that pet, we offer them a lot of resources and solutions before that pet enters our system. And the reason for that is because they have a home, right? And so the shelter is supposed to be the last stop in terms of stray and homeless, injured and sick. And so if we can help people, remain with their pets for access to care, if it has to do with, food, we have a pet pantry for that. So we even have behavior training. So we will give people scholarships for our online training. We have rehoming tools. So there's a whole bunch of tools in our toolkit to be able to help owners remain with their pets. Now, food, housing is an issue. That's not something that our shelter can fix overnight, but we are working with legislators to try to figure out a solution. We're very much about breed restrictions, not having breed restrictions. Insurance companies do that. And obviously, with the state of where we were at with the wildfires, we can see what's going on with insurance companies in general. So that does affect pet owners. So we don't provide vouchers for that, but we do have resources to be able to connect people with those resources if they need to find pet-friendly housing. We have a hybrid adoption process. So every day, Monday through Saturday, we are closed on Sundays, but every day from 9 to 11, we have a Wait While app where adopters can come to our shelter, or they can do it from the confines of their car. They can do it from their home if they live around the corner and they want to get into the queue. It opens at 9 a.m. That puts them in line, basically to say you're next or you're number 4 in the line, whatever it may be. And so they can come and they can meet with an adoption counselor and we can show them available pets. We do that because we're cleaning in the morning to be ready for the general public to be open from 1 to 5 to just be able to come through and do walkthroughs. It's worked for us. It's been successful. And so we hope to continue in that vein. The other thing that we do is in-care enrichment. So in 2023, we started our dog play groups, and we also added our cat-positive training. So here you see, no, that's not them being aggressive. They're fun. They're happy. That's a smiling face. We actually can have up to 30 dogs in play group, believe it or not. If you'd ever like to come out and watch, I'm more than happy to host you for that. We also have our cat-positive training with the Jackson Galaxy Foundation as our partner for that, and then Dogs Playing for Life as our partner for our play groups. So they've trained or given us protocols in order to train our staff and our volunteers in order to do that, which it helps with decreasing stress while they're in the kennel environment. And it also helps to highlight and show them off. They get along well with other dogs, right? We can see that. And we can put those notes. And so it makes more potential adopters more interested. And then if you don't follow us on social media, you should. But Toy Train Tuesday is a thing you must see. The dogs and cats really love to get the toys all throughout the shelter from our volunteers. So what does our customer care team do? Well, we work hard to reunify pets with their owners. And yes, we do that in the field as well. But when people come in, we try to reunify. We try to make multiple contacts if we have a microchip or a license, even just a pet tag. So we try to say the trifecta is really important. So sometimes microchips you scan, and they're missed opportunities because you scan and the microchip may move over time, but sometimes they may have another tag, just a name tag that they get. Either we make them for free, or they get them at PetSmart Petco, another pet store, or their actual physical license ID tag. So it's really trying to, if one fails, maybe the other one will pick it up, and that improves pet reunification. We have our kibble cupboard, but apparently I put kibble corner because it's a kibble cupboard in a corner. Don't say that fast 10 times. That is our pet pantry. So if people need supplies, whether it's pet food, whether it's leashes, collars, doggy sweaters, whatever we may have, it is all free, and we do not manage or monitor who's taking what. We just want people to have the ability to get the resources that they need. And we know that food scarcity is an issue, and 1 in 8 people do not eat because they can't afford to. So if it's between buying food for your pet or buying food for yourself, then please use this as a resource. We also have trap rentals that you can get for wildlife or for cats if you're doing the TNR program. We used to not take deposits via credit card. We do that now, so it's an ease of access thing for people, so you're not having to go down the street, get a cashier's check or a money order. That's a pain. So we are doing trap rentals, and you can also get them at other feed stores as well. And then licensing, of course. Pet licensing is important. In the city of Laverne, there's a requirement for dog and cats to be licensed. You are the first city in the state of California that did cat licensing way back when. So very progressive. Who knew? I will say it's not the best management practice now. That's not something that's recommended. But again, if a cat gets out and does end up in our shelter, it is another opportunity. But a lot of people have cats inside. So that's why it's not a best management practice anymore. But so the requirement in the state of California is that all dogs over the age of 4 months must be vaccinated against rabies. So animal control exists for rabies control program. There have been cases of rabies. Wildlife can carry rabies, and so it's important that you do get your dog vaccinated. We've had cases where wildlife, mountain lions or coyotes have attacked a dog. If there's a rabies vaccination that's current, that's a 1-month quarantine. If there is no current rabies, it's a 6-month quarantine. It's a lot different. People don't know that. We do have a license inspection program. We canvass you guys every other year. And so it helps with not only enforcing rabies control and the mandate, but also bringing in revenue. So our humane and animal control team is a robust team that is, your community, obviously in the foothills, we're not only handling domestic animals, but we're also handling wildlife, and a lot of it. We've recently had, some coyote issues that have come up, and we've taken care of those. We work closely with CDFW, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and we actually do relocate wildlife, which is not typical, but we've had a long-standing relationship to do so. But we handle everything from domestic and wild animals to, cruelty cases, the basic run-of-the-mill leash law violation and nuisance issues with barking dogs and noisy animals, to major cruelty cases. We're on 2 major hoarding cases in another city right now that last week brought in over 50 dogs, and this week is bringing over 60 cats. So this is something that it's important for first responders to report, right? When we go out on medical calls, sometimes there's things that we see. It's important to know code enforcement. We work closely with code enforcement to let us know. The general resident, if they see something and they say that just doesn't seem right, or if you're walking by someone's house and you smell ammonia, that's not normal, and that indicates that there may be cat hoarding going on. So we ask people to, get involved. I know it's sometimes uncomfortable, and people can remain anonymous, but we really need to be able to go out. We'd rather have a check condition call and find nothing than find out that somebody didn't want to say something and we end up with 100 animals in a week, right? As I mentioned, we work closely with Fish and Wildlife. We also do yard audits. So if a resident is concerned about, why am I seeing more coyotes, or why am I seeing more community cats that I really don't want in my yard, then we can come out and we can do a yard audit and check and see. And maybe you have fallen vegetation that you're not taking care of, which is calling rodents, which is calling cats and calling coyotes. It's all the circle of life, right? So let us be a resource for you. And when needed, we will get Fish and Wildlife involved. We can do tranquilizer. We will work with Fish and Wildlife if it's a bear or a mountain lion, but sometimes we're the first responders in that case. Just know that Fish and Wildlife does not have the resources to respond unless it is really an immediate threat to human life. So if you had an attack, they're not coming out for that. If you say, well, there's a coyote roaming down the street, they're not coming out for that. And neither are we coming out for a coyote roaming down the street. Coyotes have mange, and that's something that people will report and say, can you please help this poor coyote? So then people start feeding it, and then we have problems because now you have a more habituated coyote that creates a public safety hazard. But the reality is that even if you can trap them and relocate them to a rehabber, most rehabbers are full, and even if we could get them, they tend to die in captivity anyway. So it's not one of those things that we advocate for. It's just say, just leave them alone and let them be. Nature will take its course. So we have multiple adoption partners. We're in local PetSmarts and in Petco's with our kittens and the cats. But we also have a robust foster program and a network of over 300 volunteers, 150 adoption partners. We are actually doing 3 transports we're planning right now, obviously with the influx of hoarding case that we just got. We actually are working our animals up through the coast. Northern California will go up to Oregon. We've had partners in Idaho and Utah, New Mexico. So we've even tried to charter planes, believe it or not. And so that becomes interesting in a political dynamic of where those planes will go to help. But ultimately, our donors are very supportive of trying to put animals in situations where they can have the best positive outcome. And believe it or not, places like Oregon, there's pockets that they just don't have enough adoptable smaller animals or even domestic animals in general. So our community outreach is robust. We have a robust humane education program. We have 3 pet therapy dogs, Jam, Pork Chop, and Peaches. And so if you're hungry, then you should invite them to come visit. As I mentioned with our volunteer program, we have a lot of engaged volunteers that come to our shelter to do things like walk dogs, to do enrichment, to clean instruments and vet services. There's a myriad of jobs that they will do, in addition to fostering. Some of our long-term volunteers will foster neonates. So when we get in the thick of it, knock on wood, kitten season, we will be coming into kitten season shortly, and we will need fosters around the clock because we don't have a NICU. It's a very investment-heavy program, but even without having a NICU, our foster program is something that saves cats and kittens' lives because they take in unweaned kittens that don't have mom anymore, and they're able to foster them every 2 hours. They're feeding them overnight, and these people do it for 8 weeks sometimes. It's a labor of love. And I can tell you, having fostered Puppies, I don't want to foster on a regular basis because it is like having children, and I have children. So, oh, see, I did it, JR. I broke it. I don't know what I did. You said it would. You know what? If it's still, oh, there you go. You got it. It was me. And I mentioned we have a home-to-home program. So that's a rehoming tool that we have that we've paid for outside of the shelter walls. So basically, it is like a Craigslist of, transferring information, but we control the information. So somebody from our jurisdiction puts on there that they would like to rehome a pet. We go in there and we clear it, and then there's no money exchanging hands. So the person who's trying to rehome their pet pays nothing, and the person who's going to get that dog or cat or iguana, whatever it may be for whatever jurisdiction, they do not pay anything. And it's just an opportunity for somebody to rehome a pet that might be a really great pet, but we're like, hey, we can't take it right now because, we're full and you have a home. So that's been a successful program. We also have our Itty Bitty Kitty project, which is basically cat and kitten education. So please do not take unweaned kittens if mom is around. And so we have a whole bunch of educational material around that because ultimately they cannot thrive as well as they can with mom. And then we have our TNVR program. So we've been doing trap, neuter, and spay vaccination and release program for many, many years. We had to morph that because at one point we were doing 55 surgeries a day, 4 days a week for free. And we had people abusing the program. So people were coming from out of jurisdiction, lying, abusing staff. So we said, you know what, let's bring let's pare this back down. So there is a $70 fee, but those surgeries are only done on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's still been successful, but I can tell you when we were doing over 200 surgeries a week, it wasn't affecting our intake for cats, and that was the real red flag. Because community cats are coming from everywhere. So we were like, hey, you know what, we will do hotspots. So if you have a specific property in town, and we work with our officers to do that, we wouldn't charge to do that. It's the general population that wants to come in and just get a cat fixed, because sometimes they were their own cats, believe it or not. We also do a lot of community events. As you'll see towards the end, we have a whole list of things that we've been doing with the city of Laverne. We do our mobile vaccination clinics in each city. We rotate that, and then we just launched our Good Mobile. Veterinary services is a huge aspect of being able to have people stay with their pets. And if they can't afford it, studies have shown they will just turn in a pet to a shelter and then just go get another one. So part of our mission is trying to keep people with their pets. So we have discounted spay and neuter programs. In 2023, we launched our Alex and Elizabeth Lewitt Medical Center. And that's been a huge help in trying to get access to service. We have the Big Meow, the Chihuahua Challenge, Pit Stop, Husky Hustle, and the Shepherd Shuffle. Those are all low-cost spay and neuter programs. For $150 or less, you can get your pet fixed. And so that's been a real help for everybody. And then, of course, we have our community clinic where we see everything from a general wellness and maybe some vaccinations to major overhaul of dental. And sometimes we have people that, we just work with people, whatever their financial situation is. Sometimes we have generous donors that can come in through our Medical Miracle Fund, and we can help support them for completely subsidized, or sometimes they have to pay something. And then we do trauma and emergency care for shelter animals, and then those that are coming from cruelty cases. And then, of course, the general shelter medicine cannot be overlooked because that's herd health. And if without our herd health, then we would be having distemper and parvo and kennel cough running amok. So our team does a really good job. Daily rounds are a must, and the foster animals play into the shelter medicine management because those fosters are really heavy with veterinary support. So we have foster families coming back almost on the daily, asking for or needing, checkups or issues with their foster pets. We have a program where after hours online, they can go to an app and they can see, it's called Pet Triage, and they can see whether or not their symptoms align with whether or not the pet is struggling or whether or not they can wait until the next day to come see us. And then we have, of course, partners with emergency care, so very robust. And then data. So let's talk about your data. Did you want to bring it up? It's up to you. You guys all have a handout. There we go. Maybe it might want to do it, right? I have this same problem. It's okay if it doesn't. While you're getting that, you have the handout before you. So when we're talking about data, I wanted to talk about pre-pandemic, which was 2019 calendar year. I started at the end of 2019 in this position. My first official meeting was the day before we shut down. So very different in 2019 than through the pandemic and now. Let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. So for 2019, the service calls for the city of Laverne were 777. And then we took a little dip. We took a lot of dips, right, during pandemic because everybody was screaming, we're clearing the shelters, right? We had cleared the kennels. We got down to about 50% of our capacity. We never fully cleared it, but we also did that with a lot of foster families. And then in 2023, we had 617 service calls, and you can see in 2024, we've increased. So we have now gone beyond we are now pre-pandemic numbers, which is the trend for all of our city partners, to be honest. But I wanted to show you in comparison where the city of Laverne lies in terms of, intake and animals handled. And this number of animals handled is the aggregate number. So this includes live and deceased. And the reason why this is an important number is because what is a call that we receive, right? Or that you may receive? There is a dead dog in the street or in front of somebody's, house, and it hasn't been picked up. It's been 4 hours, right? So it is an important number to distinguish because we are handling a lot of deceased animals, wildlife, domestic, all of the above. And it is important because it does become a nuisance issue, right? We have a policy that it's, within 72 hours, because if it's not in the right of way, it's not a priority. That doesn't mean that nobody wants it to get picked up, faster than 72 hours. But if it is in the right of way, it's blocking traffic. If it's a public safety hazard, then obviously we want to take note. And in the summer, especially, right? We know what happens in the summer. It's hotter and it's smellier, so we want to be mindful of that. But calling attention to where your number's at in 2019, we were handling almost 20,000 animals, and you were at 480 of those, right? And then you again dipped down post-pandemic. And we went to 14,581 total animals handled, and you guys were at 312. We've gone up, again, climbing up, still not pre-pandemic, but 380 animals for the city of Laverne, and then 14,438 total. So in comparison, I wanted to talk about positive outcomes because we're looking at these aggregate numbers, right? And so you say, 480 animals handled, 181 positive outcomes. Now, remember, that's not all live animals, right? So, but it's important to note that, out of those numbers, in 2024, the city of Laverne was at a 92% live release rate for cats. That's huge. Our organization at one point was like 7% live release rate for cats. 86% overall. So that's a very good live release rate. And that means that we're placing animals with people. We're placing animals with other agencies, other adoption partners, whether it's transfers locally or, outside. And we're relocating wildlife when it's appropriate to do so. So it's a testament to the fact that the community has stepped up. Now, the adoption numbers, because this number, when I say positive outcomes in the red, that number is inclusive of adoptions, reunifications, transfers out to partners, and relocation of wildlife. So the number in 2024 is better than in 2019. And that's what I want to call your attention to, that the community is rallying around. And then vet care. Your residents are taking part in our services and utilizing them, which is a good thing. And that's why our board of directors decided to build the building. And in 2023, and that's when we opened, because we had a community clinic, but it wasn't very well known because it was also behind our shelter walls. But this is our front-facing clinic. So it's increased on all fronts from the moment we opened until the end of calendar year last year. And this last year, we serviced over 400. If you combine the surgeries and the community clinic, we've serviced over 400 animals in your community. So that's huge. And then we also have a partnership where we provide free basic routine care to canine Tupelo. And we've seen her. She's beautiful. She's always super friendly when she comes in. And so we're proud to partner with the city on that and the Canine Foundation and hope that that can continue. And then, as I mentioned, I would let you know the community events that we've been taking part of. And so, of course, 4th of July Parade, that's, a staple in the city of Laverne. Winter Wonderland, we support Old Town Laverne Wine Walk. We've taken part in the POA Golf Tournament to support public safety. And then we do our mobile vaccination clinics, Bonita High School, and then your Health and Community Resource Fair. And recently we took part in Barktoberfest at Pet Depot. And then we actually, for the first time this summer, we hosted the ULV internship program. So they come and actually do internships over the summer, learning how to care and take care of all the animals. So I think that's the end. And so, everybody asks me, what can we do to get involved, right? What can we do to help? And so we say, foster, volunteer, adopt, donate, get involved. And it's really important that, we open dialogue, continue our dialogue with our city partners. I think back on the, I'll focus back, not that you're going to put that presentation back up, JR, but I do want to mention that one of the things we talked about is what's happening in the future, right? So we are looking at other partnership opportunities. Many of you are aware, or all of you are aware, that the City of Ontario and the City of Chino are forming the JPA ARC. And so we are looking at other partnership opportunities. Can't share that at this moment, but we are in talks. And then, there's a combination of new revenue. We have our new mobile spay and neuter unit that's going to be fully in operation July 1. We launched it this month at Hillcrest with a vaccination clinic just to showcase the mobile. And it's named after ULV, former ULV professor, Dr. Harvey Good, who lives at Hillcrest, so one of your residents, longtime 42-year board member for us. And the tagline is doing good in your neighborhood. So we're hoping to be able to, again, fully launch that in July, and it'll be coming. That is only a service that will be available to our residents. So want to make you aware of that. And then, I get asked a lot, are you interested in doing a la carte? Is the board interested in doing a la carte services? And the answer is no, we are interested in full service. We believe that being able to provide the full breadth of services is a more holistic approach with all the things that I just outlined that we do. And then we want to revisit the discussion about city leadership meetings quarterly. I know Ken and I have talked about that, and something to talk about with our partners moving forward so that there's an ongoing conversation and dialogue to where you feel that you're being heard, and any issues that may be arising, and that the group as a whole can collaborate and sit there and go, oh, okay, well, you're having that issue and we're having that issue and maybe we need to talk about it. So we are mindful of that. And then I already mentioned how you can get involved. And there is my contact information, and I will take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Nicole. I think we're going to open up public comment right now, so we'll open up public comment. Do I have any public comment here? No. We're going to close public comment. Council, questions for Nicole or comments?
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Don't ask about your new puppy. You bought one.
I love puppies. Love dogs. Love animals. A couple questions, if I may.
Sure.
A while back, there was a opportunity for veterans to adopt animals free of charge. Is that still something that's still out there?
Yes.
Or
did you want to come up? It's my director of operations. Sometimes.
hello, director of operations. How are you?
Yes. No. We implemented that, so that's in perpetuity.
So they can come in anytime, or whatever the cost is. You're old.
Yes.
If you're a veteran, you go ahead and get
Yep.
one. Awesome. For the community events that you mentioned, and I saw they're all amazing. You guys, when you attend it, is that a day to bring in some puppies or other animals to say get the community involved? Say, hey, come donate. Donate, or maybe you can adopt or foster. Do we have that on a continuous basis?
Yeah, so sometimes we do have animals at our events, and sometimes we don't, because it is dependent on how many volunteers we can get to help us at those events, depending upon the duration of the event. So sometimes we'll bring our transport unit, and then there's kennels built into there, and then we can take them out and socialize. It's just labor intensive because of the care. And to be honest with you, it's a stressful environment for them to go back and forth. So it's not that we won't do it. We don't do it all the time. So if there's a specific event that you may be having, you're saying, hey, we would really like this to also be an adoption opportunity.
Sure.
We're always about that.
Who do we talk to?
You talk to me, Yvonne. Yvonne is our contact. Yeah, you talk
Hi,
to
Yvonne.
And then Yvonne will let
Awesome.
us know. And so
Okay.
typically what will happen is it's also dependent on what we have in inventory, because our daily inventory of what's happening in the shelter changes. So we may not have a lot of available animals. And if it's a Saturday, that's a high volume adoption day at the shelter. So it just depends. But we've done both.
We could maybe do like a Laverne Residence
Yeah.
Day, and we could have it maybe in our parking lot here. If liability, I don't know. I'll just ask. If that's the case. Have it somewhere.
We indemnify you.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
that's
your
good.
partner. We indemnify you.
Cool. So we could have something like that. Have a day and get everybody
Yeah,
riled
you
up.
just
and
let us know, and as long as
talk
we
to
don't,
Yvonne.
because we plan,
Yvonne's like, oh,
we
no,
like to
what's
get
he
that
doing?
date early, Yvonne,
Sure.
because we plan out quite a ways
Either
out.
that or just come to where you are. and
You can
visit,
do that too.
Which
We
is
can do that.
absolutely simple and
Yes.
easy, and the dogs
Yes.
aren't, and cats aren't stressed.
But I love fun.
But yes, we are open to bringing pets, and we have
You brought
brought
10
pets
with
to other
her to
community
bring
events.
home with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, my kind lady. One last thing.
Sure.
What kind of donations you guys? Other than money, I saw that. I mean, because I have, some people may have some pets and they had kennels or whatever the case might be. Is that something we can donate, like a kennel, a bed, a
Yep.
leash?
All of the above. So if it's heavily soiled, we ask you, just like the Goodwill, don't donate it to us because,
Okay.
yes, we will wash stuff, but we take a myriad of in-kind donations from towels, blankets, leashes, collars. If they're used leashes and collars, no, you can just hold on to those or
Unless
Or
they're
cash.
or-
Cash is always great.
yes.
Credit
And
card.
I mean,
know
you
they have
said
the-
other than cash.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
you
have the
did say.
donation where you can donate like $100, $200, and you can
Other
do it
than
on a
me.
monthly basis.
Yes.
They'll send you
Me.
the thing, which is probably
We
one of
have
the
a
best things.
sustainer program if you wanted to do monthly, but we also will take your cars if you want to donate us vehicles. We'll also take your wills and your trusts and your bequests.
I'm sure you will. Fight my children for that one. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Nicole?
Doctor.
It's wonderful. You guys do a great service, and I know it really benefits our city, but also just try to no kill is very important. But it's been real tough with the devastation that's been going on with the fires. Some of these animals that were lost in the fire, but also displaced, and they're still not back with their owners. So, but anything we can do to help, I think publicizing everything, social media, and those things like that. And it's nice that we're going to have maybe quarterly meetings to kind of keep us informed of what's going on, so we can push it out on our social media along with the city. So.
Yes, and we tag all of our cities in our social media. I know Yvonne's great about sharing our material. So,
She is great. She's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So, also, is there a talk about, the piece of property that was next door to you that's part of that sanitation? Is there piping and stuff underneath that? Or do you think at some point they would maybe donate that to you as a place to have dog runs and shelters and stuff? Has that been a discussion?
It's like you were in my ear.
Hmm.
So
Because it's blank and there's
it is
nothing on
blank.
it.
So right adjacent to us is actually the dumping station. So there is no plan to reorient that. What I can tell you is the sanitation district, I approached them a few years ago about selling the vacant parcel of land. And so they had said to me that the sanitation district is not interested in selling, but there may
lease.
be a long-term lease
Oh, I would
opportunity.
definitely,
in the
because
future.
that is just flat.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes.
It's more open space.
Because we wanted to have it for actually play yards to conduct open public behavior
That'd
training.
be great because they can run. That's like a dog park.
Yeah.
They can run.
Yeah.
I was just curious. So
So we're in ongoing conversations with them about what the future use is, and at this point, they don't have a plan for future use, but they aren't interested in selling their assets, which I understand.
is that Pomona or is that Los Angeles? Is that Los
Angeles County, sanitation
I'll
district.
have a little chat with them. Yeah, I know the executive director, so we're
Yeah.
on the sanitation district. So say, hey, get it pushing. We need the space.
There you go. We appreciate you.
Any other questions for Nicole? Nicole, thank you guys, and thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we can come anytime and take a visit.
Anytime.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next study session item is an update from the new executive director of Tri-City Mental Health, Austin. Now, is it Placide? Placide. That was easy. Mr. Placide, you have the mic.
All right, thank
Welcome.
you. Welcome. Thank you for the welcome. I'm very privileged to be here. I've been on the job now about 67 days, but who's counting? I have a long history of working in mental health and social services, and so I'm very privileged to be working with Tri-City Mental Health. There's a lot of opportunity, and I see that we have such a a great staff, and I think we're close to 30 individual type services that we're providing. And I wanted to make sure that you all knew that what we were doing, really we're on the precipice of some major change in reference to mental health services and social services. First of all, I want to say that I've worked with families and youth and adults in mental health services for the last 35 plus years, largely in the Los Angeles area. Worked with DMH for a brief stint. Worked up north in Sacramento area prior to this. And so I'm very familiar with the services that we provide and wanting to even provide more services. So Tri-City is just really an opportunity to, as a public safety net, provide services that we have to ensure access of care for those that are most vulnerable, especially severe mentally ill and populations that otherwise would not be served. So as that public entity, we are really dedicated to making sure folks get the services that they're needing. So with that, one of the things that I really wanted to bring forth is embarking on our next phase of Mental Health Services Act to Behavioral Health Services Act. With that, so I'll translate that to you. You guys all remember the millionaire's tax that came 2004, I believe. So with that, that's called the Mental Health Services Act. It was really focused on prevention, early intervention, as well as services, treatment services. Well, with Prop 1 that just was voted in by the California constituents, the services for homeless and mental health combination has taken a priority. As a result of that, Prop 1, many of the upfront innovation and or preventative services have now been shifted towards how are you going to provide homeless mental health services as well as supportive services and or treatment services. That is a major shift. So as a result of that, one of the things that we have to do is change our line of services to include more mental health services with those who are more housing services, with those who are mental health challenged. Not housing first, but mental health / housing. If you know the statistics, about 75% of folks who are homeless, unhoused, have mental health issues. So that's a large population of folks. As a result, there are the dollars that we receive will now need to go in that direction. Housing, FSP, which is called Full Service Partnership. It's a treatment perspective of how to work with folks who are severely mentally ill, and then other types of supportive services. As a result of that, we are looking at close to $12 million that we're needing to shift in direction. Okay, I've met with a couple of folks here, and I love Mr. Domer. He's been helpful in working.
We'll take it all. But shift that right away.
So we've already met in terms of a particular collaborative process, as well as met with the other two cities on various ideas. There is a stakeholder process. I want to make sure that I shout out Wendy. She's been very instrumental in helping our overall board understand how to make sure services are being distributed equitably and making sure that we're meeting the needs of the community. So thank you, Wendy. Yeah.
We appreciate that, Wendy. Thank you, yes.
So given that that's the case, one of the things that I really wanted to bring forth is there's about 6 priorities that have been discussed with the stakeholders. One of the largest ones is ensuring that we continue to have the staffing for this change. It will require an increase in staffing. So institutions like the, Claremont colleges, Verne, we want to make sure that we have a pipeline or a career pathway for folks to come into the mental health field. Over the last decade, there's been a decline in folks coming into the mental health services. So we want to make sure that we actually increase that with a career pathway, being able to pay for, recruit, and retain qualified staff to do these services. So one of the priorities is how are we going to incentivize folks to come into the field and really kind of start with, the bachelor's level, even AA if we can, level, all the community colleges all the way up to the graduate schools. So that will be a major focus. When we talk about housing and mental health, we're talking about priorities that will encapsulate a variety of types or a continuum of types of services, which would be either emergency or temporary or permanent supportive housing. Again, the focus being mental health issues and concerns. Not only just the housing piece, but the supportive services that go along with that, which has not been as high a priority in prior years to this. Okay, so when we say supportive services, what does that look like? Well, that really looks like a team of folks: street psychiatry, psychologists, mental health rehabilitation workers, psychiatric technicians. We have all kinds of folks that we're going to then to now really have an opportunity to utilize, working with folks in the field and in the community. Outreach workers, navigators. So that is something that we're really looking forward to being able to provide for all three cities. So with that, I didn't want to take too much time. I know we have a little bit of time, but given that that's one of the major priorities, I wanted to bring that to this council as well to say, first of all, good to see you, get a chance to meet folks. We really want to collaborate, and if you had any questions, please, I'm open.
I'm going to open up public comment. Anybody wish to speak on this item? That would be no. Close public comment. Well, first of all, welcome. And it's nice that we're getting the funds focusing on the worst of the worst, which is the mentally ill. And if we don't address the mentally ill, you can build all the housing you want. It's not going to do any good. So you try to help those mentally ill individuals, get them off the streets into some type of a protected area. So I'm glad to hear that. And I know with SGV Care, with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, I know with Yvonne Duran, our Community Services Director, I know with Ken Domer, our City Manager, but also our Police Department, our Fire Department, and there's a really good collaboration, and I appreciate, Wendy, that you're pushing that, because it's the equitable distribution of funds. It's so important because our cities are very nimble and we can move fast, and there's always been a great partnership with Tri-City, but also Lakota and some of the other organizations that do so well, and they're a gentle, I'll just say a gentle service. But I'm glad to hear that you're focusing on the mentally ill portion of it, especially when that is such a high number. And it really was just, it's talked about, but it's. I know the governor's tried to, I know they've tried to put some teeth into it, but until you get those people with care off the streets in controlled environment, it's never going to stop the problem of homelessness, especially when 75+% is the mentally ill population. Council, questions, comments? Wendy.
So I just, excuse me. So I just want to say welcome. I know we've seen each other before, but I'm glad you're able to come and talk about what Tri-City does, because I think one of the things that we've talked about is really trying to illuminate the services that Tri-City provides and try to remove some of the stigma around what mental health well-being is, right? So that people aren't characterized as bad or as having some sort of deficiency, but really understanding that there's a spectrum of there's a spectrum out there. And so how do we normalize having conversations about it? How do we use that preventive care? And I would really love to see some of those supportive services be around the education of the people around folks who may have mental illness, because it's going to require a village, right, to help make sure that folks are successful and can be, on their own or as independent as possible and as healthy as possible. Is going to require not just the help of people like you in Tri-City, but really the communities that they're in. And so I think that education component is going to be huge. So I welcome the new things that we're going to do and expansion of the old things that have been amazing. So I certainly hope that we can continue to educate folks about the good work that Tri-City does.
And while I focused on the Prop 1 and talked a little bit about the housing, what I didn't state was that we have a whole myriad of services on that front end, the prevention, outreach, and engagement, the wellness center, which gets raised reviews. So I want to make sure that, you know, it's a whole full spectrum, as you state.
We're not retracting, we're adding.
Right,
And
correct.
making some
Correct.
priorities a little different, which is a good priority.
Yeah.
Also, I did the education part. As far as educating people to be able to go in this field is extremely important. And you've got one of the best, you know, feeder ponds over here at the University of Lawrence, especially when they're starting to transition to hopefully a nursing program, clinician, things like that. So this
Yes.
is right there, which is a major issue in our communities, and we need to have that gentle touch and that outreach that they do understand what they're dealing with. And I know our city does an amazing job with Tri-City, but also with Licata and also the COG. It's just, you know, it's a different approach, and it works well. You know, of course, you have those repeaters that come back. You know, they have, you know, it's hard when you can't take control of them when they have rights, and I get it, but I think we're going to transition.
And I'm so sorry that I'm remiss. I would be remiss if I did not mention that I actually met with Yvonne and met with the police team in reference to our homeless outreach process and crisis mobilization unit. So we want to make sure we're continuing to make those efforts. Great communication system that they already have set up. We're hoping to get more involved in how we do those services.
We will help you spend
Yeah.
$12 million without a problem.
Yes. It's a good problem to have.
Just not too many strings attached. Okay. No, you guys do a great job. Any other comments? Mr. Plessis, thank you very much. We appreciate it and look forward to more time with you and doing more good in our communities.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Right.
Thank you. With that, we are going to recess and reconvene at 6:30 p.m. for our normal city council meeting. We are recessing at 6:19. Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. How's everybody tonight? I love it. Tonight we're starting the meeting this order at 6:35 p.m. on Tuesday, February 18th. Yes, it is my birthday. Thank you very much. I want to remind everyone that per the city's rules of decorum, all speakers, members of the audience, and council members are to conduct themselves with decorum and not to engage in conduct that interrupts the orderly conduct of the city council meeting. Also, public comment through Zoom will only be accepted for the agenda items listed within the consent calendar. Public hearing and other matters section of the agenda, general public comments will be accepted at the meeting by those physically in attendance at the appropriate time. Tonight, we are very pleased to have our own Airman First Class, Dallas H. Lopez Cope, to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance for us tonight. Dallas, come on up and welcome.
Are a veteran or in uniform, salute all others. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stay there. We got you.
Hold on.
I grew up in. I'm also an Eagle Scout out of Troop 411. White man out in firefighter. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm in the reserves. I get it. All right. Never quite finished.
Yeah, so I'm 2 years and 4 days. I have another. I really like it.
Thank you, guys. Again, thank you. Congratulations. Mr. Domer, roll call.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Crosby.
Present.
Councilmember Kashifagita.
Here. Happy birthday, Tim.
Councilmember Lau.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Here.
Birthday boy Mayor Hepburn.
Present and accounted for.
All here, sir.
68. Oh, wait a minute. Did I say that? Tonight we have 3 presentations. Our first presentation is for Black History Month. Every February, National Black History Month serves as both a celebration of the achievements of African Americans and a recognition of the central role they play in the nation's development. I want to call forward Mr. Ivy, CASI representative, and also you guys can all come up, please. Please, come on up. Carol Wheatley and your grandson, and we'll come on down, guys. Yvonne, get up here.
So in honor of Black History Month, we want to present Cassie with this proclamation, and I'll go ahead and read it. About our nation's history, and whereas Black and African Americans have been among our country's most consequential leaders, shaping the cultural and political destiny of our nation in profound ways, and whereas the 2025 national theme for Black History Month is African Americans and Labor, in consideration of the collective work of Black people over the history of the United States, and whereas the City of Laverne acknowledges the critical role African Americans have played across a wide range of industries and professions, from factories to public service and the corporate sector, and recognizes the enduring legacy of African American labor movement in fighting for fair wages, safe working conditions, inclusivity, and equal opportunities that benefit all workers today. Now, be it proclaimed by the City of Laverne that the month of February 2025 be recognized as Black History Month, and encourage all residents this month and throughout the year to learn, observe, celebrate, and honor Black history and culture. Dated this 18th day of February.
And on behalf of Cassie and all of the African Americans across the world, I want to thank the City of Laverne for this proclamation. It means that in this city, that there is appreciation, contribution of African to this nation. I'm helping feel all the great former presidents, heights of greatness of people who sing, actors, politics, makes up an spectrum. Cassie is an inclusive organization. We encourage you to come and all of the day, but we enjoy the fact that the City of Laverne continues to open to the fact that love that we all are all need to get all need to lower the hate and get back to getting together. Unity, loving. Thank you.
Next, we would like to introduce new Laverne Police Officer Lucas Morris. Mr. Chief Gonzalez, Sam Gonzalez, come on up to introduce.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Good evening. Yes, I'm honored here to introduce new family members, actually, because he's here with his family. And it's actually really nice because he has been part of the community, which I'll talk about here momentarily, but now he's actually part of the family. So thank you for allowing me that opportunity. As you mentioned, we hired Officer Lucas Morris, who joined the Laverne Police Department after spending 7 years with Riverside County Sheriff's Department, where he began his career as a correctional deputy and later promoted to deputy sheriff in 2020. Assignments have included field training officer, Eastvale Special Enforcement Team, and patrol at Harupa Valley Station. And as I mentioned, Officer Morris has strong ties to the Laverne community, having grown up in Laverne, graduated from Bonita High, and still resides locally with his wife and three. It says three, but I think we're missing one. Okay, I'm going to say three, and there's only two here, so he's at soccer. And oddly enough, his daughter actually plays with my next door neighbor, so that's how small the world is. Officer Morris is a product of the community, and his experience, knowledge, and appreciation for the community make Officer Morris an invaluable asset to the department, and we welcome him and his family to the Laverne family. So welcome. So just take a few moments and introduce yourself, introduce your family, and again, congratulations and welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Officer Lucas Morris. I'm excited and honored to be here in front of you all, and excited and honored to control and such a part of it. Not only a community that I did born and raised, passion. Again, not many words can say it, but
Happy birthday, Tim.
The final presentation tonight is from the Laverne Police Department introducing their new website. I'm going to call forward the infamous, the amazing Community Services Supervisor, Holly Savage.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, Council, for having me. I appreciate your time this evening. Again, I'm Holly Savage. I'm the Community Services Supervisor for the Police Department. And it is my great pleasure to finally introduce you guys to the new and improved lvpd.org. So instead of a slideshow tonight, I wanted to kind of just walk you through the website. So we'll hope that it works well enough. So before we get into the actual website, we'll talk about why. So we heard the feedback from the community. We heard feedback from all of our end users that our old website was extremely outdated. I will be here 10 years this year, and this thing was here way before me, so it's long overdue. It was clunky, it was link heavy, and it was extremely difficult to navigate. I had trouble working on it, and I used it every single day. It was just so filled with outdated information. So we heard the complaints. We recognized the need for a modern, streamlined, and mobile-friendly platform. That was one of the elements that we were missing with our old website, was it was not mobile-friendly at all. This one is, and it is incredibly exciting to be able to present it to you tonight. We've scaled back quite a bit of the unnecessary, outdated content, so you're not missing anything. You're actually getting what you need now, so it's really exciting. The new design, we can look through. So you have your top bar up here, and this is going to give you all of the services and information that you need, including a new and improved join feature. We are highlighting specifically our police officer and our communications officer opportunities. Obviously, we do have more opportunities available in the police department, but these are the two that we tend to need to recruit most heavily for. So if you click on those, you can get some information about becoming a police officer. Why Laverne PD? Well, obviously, because we're the best. But you can see some of the information about our culture, our community, the opportunities, and the impact that you can make as an officer or conversely as a dispatcher with the Laverne Police Department. And then we can get into some of the good stuff that people really want to know about, like pay and benefits, all that wonderful stuff. Yes, sir. Right? It's really, it's great. The photos have been updated. You're not going to see anybody who no longer works here on the photo on the website. It's great. And then obviously we have little things that make a huge difference. Like right here, it will take you back up to the top. And those were little elements that were missing before, but they make a big impact when you're trying to find something quickly. One of the things that we did was we added a forms section. And this is going to be all of the forms that you could possibly need for the police department. They're easily available to download to your own computer. We are still, it just launched today, so there are still some kinks that we're going to be working out. We want to make this page a little bit more user-friendly, maybe alphabetize the forms, but we'll be working on that. I am open to feedback, obviously, from you guys, from all of our users within the department and within the community. And you can obviously reach out to me via email, and we can provide that to anybody that would like to get that. We did include all of our social media platforms down here, so you can just click on any of those. And then what we added this time is we added the Nixle alert system, so you can just click the button and join the Nixle. That is one of the most important things that we want our community members to join as far as social media platforms. That gets you text and email messaging for emergency communications. We all have all of our transparency documents, our CCW documents. Everything is in the quick links down below. And again, if we go back up to the top, we can see everything.
What about
Talks-
parking?
Parking is in here under
Because
services,
it's been a little
I believe.
clumsy, I think,
It
at best,
has.
especially when you go from a parking pass for a vehicle
Yeah.
or a parking pass for an RV. That separation's important, and you will get ticketed if you have a
Correct.
pass. Yeah,
Correct.
pass. Then
Yeah, so under services, you will find our parking permit information. And it's still going to be the same third party. That didn't. All right. So we found our first error here.
So that's what we're here. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's why we're here. That's what we're working through. So yes, the parking information is still under there. You'll have to scroll for it, but I'll get that fixed, and you will be able to still buy the permits. The calendar with all the dates that are going to be exempt is still on here, and that goes throughout the end of the year. So if you are trying to figure out if you need a parking permit for Thanksgiving, you can go.
They never had that before. They never had that before.
Yeah. So everything's in there, alarms and all that good stuff. Aside from all of that, it's the user-friendly design, it's improved search engine optimization and accessibility, and then, of course, we talked about the mobile optimization. And you're going to get real-time updates. It's going to be a lot easier for us to update things in the event of an emergency. So obviously, this provides a tremendous value to the end user, to our community, to you guys, and to our internal staff. And let's see. I am open to any questions.
Actually, I'm going to open up public comment.
Perfect.
Let's do public comment. Anybody wish to speak on this item? Any suggestions, any tweaks, or anything like that? Mr. Bowen? Sure. Well, you know what? We better come on up, Rick. Come on up. Sorry, I'll make you get out of your chair.
By the way, you look great for 80.
I'll take it. Thank you.
I've looked at the log and the legend on the first page. Then I look at the log, and some of the descriptions on the log don't match the legend. Do they now?
It should still.
Really? Okay. Maybe we could.
She's going to check that. She'll check it, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on that? We're going to go ahead and close public comment. Back to Holly.
Fantastic.
You know
Well,
what?
Thank you for your time.
I honestly think that every time we bring new stuff on and you guys bring new things on, it makes it easier, because I know our city website was, to say antiquated is probably not the word we want to use, archaic and old, but we've since changed, not like me, yes, 80 years old, thank you very much, as Mr. Bowen said. No, I think it's great because it changes amorphous, but I think we need to make it easier for our residents. I mean, if I'm having an issue with a parking permit, and it'd be nice if you could just do it on your phone and not print anything off, and have it come up on the screen of your parking enforcement officers to say, okay, this car has a permit.
I feel like I have another project coming. Maybe.
Okay, very good. Chief, you like that idea? I think because most of those people are run on computer and they're probably inputting information, the ones that give citations, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When your printer doesn't work.
And when your printer doesn't work, which is 95% of us, and you don't even know how to use it,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm
I
just
agree.
saying it.
I agree.
So anyway, no, I think it's
Definitely
great, and
something to consider.
I think feedback from the residents. I think that if there's
It's important.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just tickled to death that you're doing it. I like the way it looks. I mean,
Glad to
even
hear
that handsome devil that pops up, Sam, our chief. But I mean, all the other pictures of the officers,
Yes.
and also Tupelo, and just an interactive of who these officers are. I think it's great. I really do.
It's been a great project for all of us to work on. So
Awesome.
thank you for the opportunity.
Any other questions or comments for Holly?
Thank you, Holly. Happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Holly. We appreciate it, and I hope continue good. And maybe as we go through this, we'll maybe have some feedback. Let
Please.
you know, maybe add FBI crime stats. Somebody could click in there and say, hey, what are our stats? Or just little things. If
Yes.
it needs. But that's all.
Wonderful.
Definitely won't be a
Thank you.
budget item for the chief, though. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and
Thank
happy
you.
birthday, Mayor.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you very much, Holly. Great job. Thank you. Okay. I do like my idea about the, and I also want a shout out to the police department. I know that during the fires that and our high alert that we did not have parking enforcement at all. So people were able to park on the street in case we had to get away in an emergency. Put your vehicles out there. I just want to thank the chief and his staff. To my knowledge, there was no violations for a number of weeks during that. And that was something we requested because some of the residents said, hey, if you're in an emergency situation, you want to evacuate out of here, so thank you, chief. And not only that, they also helped patrol some of the other areas that were blighted, like the Altadena area, and then some of them that our officers were out there, along with our fire department did a stellar job. We had people out for 4 months in our fire department out on all fires throughout the state. We came back, chief. No one got hurt. I think everybody came back, and our equipment came back, and so we're very proud of all of our staff between the police department and our fire department, but also our public works and our staff that went out from our public works went out as for fleet management, things like that. We've just got such a talent pool in our city that they required them to go out all over the state to help with the fire, with vehicles, with resources and things like that. So kudos to our staff and Mr. Domer for allowing that to happen and doing such a great job. So round of applause. We now move to announcements. I think we have announcements from our Boy Scout troop with upcoming events. Is that correct? Hello, Liam. Good to see you.
Hello, my name is Liam Hickam. I'm Troop 411 here in Laverne. We have 2 upcoming fundraisers. We would like maybe community support with fundraisers February 28th from 10:30 a.m. 20% at Blaze Pizza, 20% of the proceeds go to support the troop. Then on March 26th, all day at Ruby, 30% of the sales for troop.
Thank you, Liam. Very, very good.
So
yes,
we
ma'am.
have flyers.
Oh, yeah, please
I
leave
printed
them.
up 20 flyers each. The flyers have also been placed on the cable, Laverne Cable Network, on their bulletin board. Forgive me, I don't get cable. I don't actually live in the city of Laverne, so I don't know what it looks like. But I know it's there.
We love our Boy Scouts. We're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, leave those flyers. That's perfect.
Yeah, and so the one in March, they want you to either reference it or tell them, that you're here in support. The boys are trying to raise money to update their whiteboard, which has very archaic writing on it that by our best we can't remove. And they have earned the Journey to Excellence patch, which I guess this year is the last year that it'll be dated. And my son initiated it with the Scoutmaster, so they're trying to raise money for that. And then, of course, we're trying to fix the letters on the outside of the barn to make it look hopefully slightly
We
better.
need a new barn
Yes.
of some kind. What are you trying to raise?
Paint. Huh?
What are you trying to raise for the board as far as what kind of dollar value? Any?
The least expensive one I could find was Walmart. And when I first looked, it was 100 something. And when I looked again, I couldn't find it on my phone. It went up to 200 something.
Okay.
So I haven't yet bought it, but I was one that did the research. So at some point I will
I don't
be
think
buying
you have
it.
a problem raising funds, so we'll make
So-
sure that we get that out.
Yeah.
Can we post that on ours? Is that something we can do on our website, or is it not necessarily? Let's just give it to us, and we'll get it out to the public for you.
That would be appreciated.
Personally.
Thank you. Because right now
Personally.
it's just the parents that are going, and we already support our lovely troop. And the boys do such an awesome job in the community, and they work really hard. So
Well, you
I
have a good
appreciate it.
spokesman as a son, so you did a nice job, Liam. Thank you.
All right, Liam.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
for
you.
your
Please leave those
time.
flyers, and we'll make
Happy
sure that it's a
birthday.
success. Thank you. You can put them up here. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Take care. So Blaze Pizza on the 28th, and Rubio's is the 26th of March, and you have to tell them that this is what it's for. Blaze Pizza, they'll know, but you should probably mention it anyway. Great. Thank you, guys. Take care. Adrian, our librarian. Come on up.
Adrian.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. I would like to introduce a few events that will be taking place at Laverne Library. This Saturday, we'll be holding a musical program for toddlers and children ages 1 to 5 at 11 a.m. During this program, a performer by the name of Iwalani will teach about snare drums, bucket drumming, and indigenous drumming techniques. After the program, a positive parenting librarian will be available to answer questions about common parenting concerns. And this Thursday at 4 p.m., we'll be holding a program for teens that celebrates African American and Black History Month. During this event, teens will learn about the impact that teenagers had during the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s. And after the program, teens can design a coaster in support of a cause that they care about. And throughout the month of March, the Friends of the Library will be holding their spring lobby book sale, where people can find used books, DVDs, and magazines at a very reasonable price. Funds from the sale are used for the purchase of new books and to support library programs. And I also want to mention that all LA County libraries will be closed on Thursday, March 5th for a countywide staff training day. Okay, thank you.
That was it. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Any other announcements? Please.
Mayor, happy birthday. And Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I have some really exciting news that you probably already know, but I wasn't aware of it, that Laverne has a symphony orchestra. Oh, I see some surprise. They've been forming for quite a few years and now have a community representation. They're sponsored by ULV. They have 45 members and an internationally known director, Sylvia Lee Mann. It's just an exciting group. And the most exciting part is that they're coming to Hillcrest. And so I'm inviting all of you to come. It's a $20 donation. They will accept more. On March,
are there lifetime memberships? Oh, just checking.
March 21st, a Friday night at 7 o'clock, with beautiful music, I think, to relax your mind and lift your soul, and just thrilling to support our very own symphony orchestra. It's just a little touch of class. Anyway, I have some flyers.
Oh, please,
for you.
come right here. Thank you. Anybody's welcome, correct? Anybody is welcome. Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. Any other announcements? Sherry? None? Lifetime membership, $200, $20, you know? Oh, that's true. I just want to say on announcements, I did, my wife will attest to this, I had the plum jam that I bought, 2-3 weeks ago. It's excellent. I think it's one of your best yet, so just so you know. Apricot and plum. I've got the 2 small and the large, but I almost went through the large. Diabetes. I'm not 80 yet, but anyway. It was excellent, so just that. Any other announcements from the crowd? We'll close announcements. I will. Will you have an announcement? Oh.
Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday, Tim, for your announcement.
She's snorting over here. We're in trouble. Announcements. This weekend, we had the swearing-in ceremony of our 31st Congressional District Congressman, Gil Cisneros, at the University of Laverne. Councilmember Lau was there. Our Chief, Sam Gonzalez, was there. Ken Domer was there. Am I missing? There was a few other people that were there, but we had Susan Rubio, our Senator Susan Rubio. We had Bob Archuleta. We had Lisa Calderon, Mike Fong, also John Harbidian, our Assembly members. And it was actually really fun. They put it on a really nice show. It wasn't very long. It was about 45 minutes. But I was able to, a little speech that I want to say, where's Andrea? She did a great job on the speech that I did before the crowd, and She did a great job. So, but it was nice that they used our area, the university. They had wonderful little snacks down there. I didn't partake, but I turned around and in 20 minutes they were gone. But it was nice that they choose our area to introduce themselves. I look forward to our relationship with Congresswoman Cisneros, as we had such an amazing time and a run with Grace Napolitano, who was very generous to the University of Laverne, also to our city. She gave $4 million for one of the completion of our pedestrian bridge, which was really generous. And Susan Rubio with the SGV Care and our San Gabriel Valley Regional Housing Trust. I also represented the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. So it was a really nice affair. It was very well attended. Many, many council members from all the San Gabriel Valley, Baldwin Park, Azusa, Irwindale, Glendora, El Monte, South El Monte. And so a lot of people from El Monte, from my alma mater, which was Aurora High School. I grew up in Arcadia, but went to El Monte School. So it was just a fun day. Any other announcements? Wendy? Cash, you're done. Rick, any other announcements? Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Okay. We will move on to the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are routine and will be enacted by one motion unless a member of the City Council or member of the audience requests separate discussion. Council, are there any requests to pull any item from the consent calendar? Will you two behave, please? With that, City Manager Romer, and I request to pull items from the consent calendar.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Items 2, 6, and 7 were pulled by Rick Bowen.
And those are?
That is dealing with the Register of Audited Demands, the side letter agreement for CalPERS compliance with education incentives.
And the 7 was?
And number 7 was efficiency technician.
Efficiency technician.
Salary.
Okay. So, okay. What we'll do is we'll take a motion on the balance of those, and then we'll go back to items 2, 6, and 7.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second. Vote, please.
So items number 1, 3, 4, 5, and 8 of the consent calendar was approved 5-0. Motion by Crosby, seconded by Lau.
Okay, we'll bring it back to Mr. Domer. And there's a request to pull these items 2, 6, and 7. Mr. Domer, did you want the person that is in the audience?
Sure. That's standard how we do that, yeah. If they pull it, they can ask the question or speak about it.
So we should go to item number 2 first?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Bowen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council and City Manager. I asked for these to be pulled because there are a lot of things in the news these last few weeks about how expenses are paid, federally and locally and everything else. So I started to go through here, and there's 3 weeks worth, or there's a month's worth, but 3 different 2-week periods, it looks like, totaling almost $3 million that we pay out. And so I was looking through here, and I just have questions. So I'd rather be able to call up somebody, but can't because of the short time frame. And so I have 31, Christy, sorry about that. I have 31 items I've identified for about $520,000. So I don't know how you can handle this. I doubt you're going to answer my questions right now about what it was for.
Mr. Bowen, did you request this before the meeting of staff, or you just requested to pull it without?
No, again, the agenda came
Wednesday.
out last week.
Yeah.
You have Thursday, you're off Friday, you're off Monday. Not really time to get answers for things like this.
Okay, that's 25 items. Do you have the
I have
specific
31 items here.
31.
Yep.
Do you have the specific ones in question?
Well,
31
what do you
of
want
them.
to do here, Mr.
Yeah,
Domer?
Mr. Mayor, if I know in the past, Christy, our finance director, has been available to Mr. Bowen. These the audited demands have already been paid. The checks, these are a ratification. And so for the questions, I would just suggest that Mr. Bowen during this week talk to Christy about meeting tomorrow or the next day just to kind of go over those 31 different issues. So,
what was your basis of concern on the 31 items? Just
well,
as a general statement.
There's items. We're paying a lot of money in the last year, 2 years actually, for lawyers. And we seem to have an extraordinary lawyer fee bill these days. And it's all to different lawyers, different amounts. And I'm curious, what is it all for? I mean, there's got to be an invoice typically to make a payout. Am I correct?
There are.
So there should be a corresponding invoice for each one of these saying what it was for, correct? So that's basically why I had it pulled, so I could come up here and ask for that. So if you'd like me to, I'd get hold of Christy. But quite frankly, I know she's real busy, so
well,
if that's the avenue, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's the avenue we would want to take.
Yeah, she is the best one for that. She is the finance director, understands it, can walk you through the invoices and all that stuff. And if there's any additional items as to our legal expenses, you know, we have a retainer, and then, of course, other things. We get sued, we defend ourselves. We have the money that we pay through the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority for the excess liability. So,
yeah, we're paying. There's $25,000 in here for excess JPIA.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, what's it for? There must be an invoice that corresponds, says why we have to pay. Pardon me. Why we're having to pay excess JPIA, because we have if I remember right, we pay a fee every year, but then once we get sued and deplete that bucket, so to speak, then we have to refill the bucket with excess. Is that a general observation? I think that's how you've explained it in the past.
Yeah, and explain it to you. So basically, if that bucket of funding for lawyers who are employed by the CJPIA defending us in lawsuits goes below the $25,000, we refill it. So we'll cut a check anywhere from 10 to 15. If it's 25,000, then it means that in the past month's activities, there's been more than $25,000 drawn from that account.
And is most of that budgeted, or is that excess budget?
That is budgeted. We do have a budget amount. And then we also track it. We just had a meeting with them in the last 3 weeks to look at, because it was about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we switched to the excess pool. We used to pay a lot more money for a zero premium. And then we switched to the excess pool, which basically we are on the hook for the first $250,000 in the lawsuit that they represent us in. But it is a lesser amount of funding on an annual basis for those accounts. So, but that's why we do check it, because if there's a lot of claims, a lot of trips and falls, other things like that, then we may switch back to that system if it gets too costly. Right now, it's not.
Okay, so we'll refer that to Christy this week. Okay, item number 6, the CalPERS. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we should take a vote on each one if there's no other questions or
motion.
Well, there's still a lot of questions, but I guess you can vote on to pass it, I guess.
Well, again, it's city attorney can explain this better. It's a ratification. Those checks have already been cut. That's budgeted expenses. So this is part of the transparency of allowing information to be on the agenda and all that stuff, and for questions to be asked.
Well, and not only that, it's really not a question of what, it's just why, what's for. I mean,
what's
as far
it
as
for?
we have, it's going to be paid
because
no matter what.
You've already paid it.
Yes.
So, question I would have: if I paid something, do I have an invoice to go with it?
Christy will help you. With that, I need a motion for item number 2.
Second.
Vote, please.
Item number 2 on the consent calendar was motioned by Castle-Fagita, seconded by Crosby, approved 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 6, CalPERS. Mr. Domer. Or Mr. Bowen, you had a question on the number 6 on CalPERS.
Unfortunately, I read this, and I just see a couple of things in here that, again, I'm not an expert on it by any means, but under education performance incentive, if you look at D1, it says that you have the employee's work performance evaluation for past annual evaluation periods must contain overall ratings of meet expectations or better. In my world, that's a C, a passing, maybe. But that's been eliminated in this. And then it also says the employee shall have, this is in the past, this is being eliminated, it appears to me, the employee shall not have tested positive for drugs for the last 3 years. So, again, it just seems kind of odd that you would pull that. You're paying somebody to get educated, but they don't have to they don't have to have a passing or better expectation, and they don't have to pass a drug test. Are drug tests still part of the city's, or has that been removed?
So I may have a tag team on these issues. I know Christy has her folder with her, but so the city is periodically audited by CalPERS for different things. This came up during a CalPERS audit of all of our MOUs, the memorandums of understanding, basically the employment agreements we have with our association. So what they determine, well, first of all, yes, we still do drug testing. We still have performance evaluations. If somebody is not performing, then we do, progressive discipline, work improvement plans, all those type of things that you would normally do in any jurisdiction or hopefully any private business. The issue is that CalPERS, in reviewing our MOUs, decided that the language was not clear and that we couldn't base it on some of those prerequisites. So we couldn't say you get an educational incentive if you pass performance. And so we had to get rid of that. It's not changing anything. You're part of it. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I think the point on that we would deal with disciplinary issues through the disciplinary process, and what PERS is saying that under the public employment retirement law, that provision, that those prerequisites that were put in there would not be allowed for that education incentive to then be PERSable. And so by changing that language, we're now in compliance with the public employee retirement law provisions, and it doesn't change anything. It doesn't cost any extra. If we would run into employee issues with some of these areas, then we would deal with it in the disciplinary process.
So we've signed MOUs with these organizations, and CalPERS comes in and says, no, you can't do that. And we don't dictate, the city doesn't say, yes, we're holding to this. CalPERS tells us what we can and cannot do.
So we abide by law, and CalPERS knows the PERL better, the Public Employees Relations law, very well. They come after us several times, but clearly what's gone on in the past when we've negotiated MOUs is, for example, somebody put in, the unit wanted a education incentive. The city council would have said, well, I understand that, but we want to make sure, just like you're saying, that they're performing well, they're passing all that stuff. We would put that in, we would negotiate it. No one at that point is checking against if law has changed or maybe it was an older law. Sometimes also that we deal with, PERS changes the interpretation of the law based on some court cases or other findings like that. So this is their check upon us, and basically what they were saying is, JR said, is that the wording as such was against law. So in order to be compliant with current law, we had to go ahead and make those changes and strip that out. But again, it doesn't preclude us if an employee is not making, the performance grade, we take them through that disciplinary process. The incentive pay isn't really connected to that because they may have a bachelor's. And so they negotiated to have additional pay for that bachelor's or master's. It's not connected to whether they're being a good employee. We have a different process for that. And that's what CalPERS is saying, is that if they don't have a master's or a bachelor's, then you don't give them the educational incentive that you've negotiated with them. If they do, you give it to them. If there's a disciplinary process, you take them through the disciplinary process separate from the MOU. Hopefully that makes sense.
I understand it. I don't agree with it, but
Well,
That's
unfortunately,
just- that's unfortunately, yeah.
unfortunately or fortunately,
Seems silly.
The rules change all the time, and as we go through our MOUs, we've had a number of times where CalPERS said, no, you can't do this. You have to, this is what you need to put in your language. So this has been going on for a little bit of time, if I'm not mistaken. We've gone over this in closed session a number of times, and it's just one of those things that, and I would agree with you, Mr. Bowen. I think CalPERS is, at best, difficult to deal with, especially when they make investments and they do not have any responsibility for loss in investments, and they charge it to the cities that we are one of many cities that has CalPERS, and it's a major issue. I think down the road, things will change probably, hopefully, where you would have a selection that you could go 401k or something like that, where you would have a matching type of thing, which I would love to see. But unfortunately, right now, we are under the guise of all employees are under CalPERS. It'll never go away. Even if we start another plan, we still have to have CalPERS. And there's a buyout part of CalPERS that's just unbelievable. So,
yeah,
you don't want to do that.
couldn't afford
It's
it.
like 8 times the amount of the value of what you're
Yeah,
defining.
I know.
But
That's
anyway,
why we had a $53 million bond a few years ago, right?
does that answer your question on that one, sir?
Yeah.
Then
Yes.
we will take a vote on that one. Do I have a motion for item number 6, CalPERS?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Vote, please.
Item number 6 was moved by Cashel Figuita, seconded by Lau, and approved 5-0.
Thank you. Next one is item number 7, efficiency. Mr. Bowen.
Last one, hopefully this real quick. I see efficiency higher.
definition.
We don't have efficiency people now.
This is the division of government efficiency. No.
Which might not be a bad idea.
No, so
Whoa.
this one is actually one of those that came up because we did have a part-time position, basically a clerical aide that assists in the administration area, answering calls, doing paperwork, filing, and all that stuff, working on our Laserfish system. We put it out. We had several hundred, 200 applicants. We whittled it down eventually to 2, and 2 very different persons. One was a year out of college. The other person was recently laid off from JPL, a resident, over 25 or 28 years of experience with JPL. And in talking to the person about what they do, it aligned with one of the actions the council took a couple of meetings ago for our financial software upgrade. And in that, we are looking at having an ERP, Enterprise Resource Program, assistant or technician help with the implementation of it. So that money was built into the CIP project for it. And looking at this person's skills, instead of saying, well, we want you to answer the phones and do some paperwork, we said, how would you like to do this? Because from their experience and in the interview process, they did several ERP migrations at JPL, and we thought this would be a great opportunity for us to actually get some efficiency, but get some utilization. We just we didn't want to call the person an admin clerk because of the classification has different levels. So we created what is before the council right now, which is that efficiency technician. So it will be working with the Department of Finance, our Information Technology Division, to help with the ERP, the financial software upgrade. But then also we want to look at some of the other systems. One of the issues about Laverne is we're a little bit old school. We still are using, I know, yeah. We're 68 years plus in old school, but we still have paper timesheet. So part of the ERP process is going to upgrade that. But there are other computer systems that everybody's operating on that we want to make sure are fully efficient in helping everybody. So we're going to ask this person to also work with us on that. So it is truly a one-off. We want to utilize this person for the experience they have, and we may still so that's the story behind that.
Plus, the person's excited to come to work for us.
Another Laverne resident, absolutely.
Another Laverne resident. So. Does that answer your question, Mr. Bowen?
Sounds like a pretty good hire. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll take a motion for item number 7, please. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote, please. Excuse me, have you been drinking?
Item number 7 was moved by Cashel Vegeta, seconded by Johnson, and approved 5-0.
I feel really old now. Rick already told me I was 80. Thanks, Rick. Day over 78. Thank you. Okay, we shall. Okay. Public hearing. Now we move to public hearings. Tonight, there's only one public hearing. It is the weed abatement protest hearing. City Manager Domer, this is exciting stuff. Please call forward the staff member who will be reporting on the weed abatement.
I'll go ahead and tackle that. Basically,
nobody's jumping up.
Yeah. This is an annual time, so.
Go ahead.
No, the principal planner does not want to do this one.
Got it right. Oh, the county's here.
Well, that's why I was just warming up.
I was just warming up for her. She's been sitting the whole time.
This is an annual process that the county agricultural department handles, and the chief of fire will kind of help.
I want to vote again.
Good evening, council, community, and mayor. Happy birthday. I believe that's a trend tonight.
Thank you.
Real quick, I'm just going to introduce Celine from the county, who's going to come up and provide insight into the county's weed abatement process. As you know, the city of Laverne has a 5-year contract, as has been historical practice, to handle weed abatement measures on the undeveloped properties in the city. And I'll go ahead and hand it over to her now.
Thank you, Chief. Welcome. Good evening.
Council members, committee. LA County has a contract with the and we provide the fire defensible space for structures. So we have here in the 11 city, we have 168 total declared parcels, and last year we have out of the 168 declared parcels, 149 parcels were in compliance. So there were only about 19 non-compliant. So the compliance rate in Laverne is more than 90%. So, if there's any question, because today is the protest hearing, property owners to raise their concern about being
all of those residents that would have the county clear their property have been.
Yes. What we do is that we already sent out in February, out the annual notice to all the declared parcels, informing them of their responsibility to maintain their parcels free of fire hazards. And we inform them that we usually start our inspection. We give them time to clear their parcels, and we will start our inspection usually in. And after our inspection, any non-compliance, if clearance cost is more than $750, we will issue what we call a weed and brush letter, which is an additional note informing them of that they need to clear the property. If not, county will clear. So, but and in Laverne City, usually even after receiving the weed and brush letter notice, they're also given another 2 more weeks to clear us. So they always give. We encourage clearance by property owners because it is cheaper. When it's cleared by the county, it's more expensive. So we always give opportunity to property owners. And even sometimes after the deadline, or if they cannot meet the deadline, property owners will call us and let us know that they're not able to meet the deadline, ask for an extension, and we will give that extension because we do encourage property owners to take up the responsibility. It's only when they do not clear after the deadline, and also also that we have already tried to communicate with the property, encourage them to clear, but they still do not clear and ignore all the notices, then we will clear. And on top of that, if there is a complaint, we will also act on it very quickly once we receive the complaint saying that it's hazardous vegetation.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of complaints from people these days. They're going to clear as quickly as they possibly can with these fire hazards. So, with that, I'm going to open up public comment. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, there's no one on the line. I'm going to close public comment. Mr. Kashipagita.
Happy birthday, Tim. Yeah, sorry, I have one more question. I don't know if our fire chief would kind of help out. The area Sierra Laverne chief is I saw streets that align it. Wheeler.
Thank you very much.
Birdie. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Don't go too far. I have another question after I say happy birthday, Tim, again.
So Sierra Laverne, what? Sorry,
Sierra Laverne with the weed abatement, with all that, because I still see the trees that are down and stuff like that. Is that part of the inspection here?
So
the county can
like
go
I
and look at
mentioned,
too?
the contract arrangement that's been around for a very long time, long before I got here, was for the county to handle all the undeveloped properties in the city or unincorporated areas. The city fire department handles all the rest. It's my understanding that it was a sheer capacity problem, and that's how we got into this arrangement, because Laverne Fire just wasn't in a place to do holistically all of the property in the city. Sierra Laverne's an interesting situation because, as you know, it used to be a golf course, and now it is not a golf course. And
isn't one part of it, Chief, like part of the county along the stream?
Well, it's not necessarily that. It's the fact that we are responsible for the defense, what we would know as a defensible space near the structures. So the 100 feet to 200 feet in from the structures.
Got it.
That's been a very collaborative effort over the years that I've been here, because it has been, it's been very effective, and we haven't had any issues with it, but it is a complex process because of that contract agreement where we hold them accountable to that defensible space, that 100 to 200 feet from the structures, then everything more interior from there, the county is then responsible for. So Fire Marshal Fred St. Ange, and prior to that, the Fire Marshal before that, works in conjunction with the county to get that property taken care of. So it's an ongoing effort, as you know, and it's going to continue to be until that property is not there.
They have been clearing, though. I noticed that they were pulling some dead trees and stuff out just the other day. So,
And
and it's flat right now. It's flat, thank goodness. But with these rains we had, God knows what's going to grow so quickly. Yes,
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
I'm noticing that there's a property next door to this list.
Want to recuse yourself from this, sir? You go right ahead, Mr. Johnson. We will hold conversation. Thank you. In an abundance of caution.
He was referring to the property at 2016 Arrow Heights,
which is right next.
Which is next door to the property that he owns at 20.
His insurance agency is right there, and there's two pieces of property actually adjacent, right?
Correct.
Steve?
Yes.
So basically, they've been clearing it pretty well. I mean,
and I should say, sorry. Generally speaking, I do not believe that this is a conflict of interest, like illegally prohibited, but I'm just haven't had the chance in the 3 seconds since he left the room to research it.
Sorry.
But to be safe, we're just confirming. But I do not believe that is a conflict, but we're just doing this to be safe.
I like abundance of caution. There you go. So anyway, they've been doing a fairly good job. I think that
they have, and they've been the property management in not only the property owner, but ultimately the property management has been very easy to work with. If there's been some contentious time, but ultimately we get there to ensure the defensible space near.
It looks better than it has in a while, so it has been clearing some large stuff. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions for staff or from the county? With that, I'll accept a motion. I'll accept a motion. Wait. Do I have a motion to direct the Los Angeles County Agricultural Commissioner, Director of Weights and Measures, to abate the nuisance at the declared properties?
Motion approved. Happy
What
birthday,
was
Tim.
the motion? We have a second. Vote, please.
The birthday?
Item number 9 was moved by Castelfiguita, seconded by Lau, and it looks like we're missing one vote.
That
was approved 4-0 with Mayor Pro Tem Johnson recusing himself.
If we could please call back in Mr. Johnson after this vote, please.
And bring back a cookie.
He's coming.
Sorry.
Birthday wish for the candle. Hi, Steve.
Sorry, I couldn't have been longer. You have chocolate chip all over your mouth. or whatever. Yeah, almost finished that cookie. Now we move on to other matters. There are 3 items. First is the resolution renewing the Laverne Police Officer Department's AD 481 military equipment policy and affirming ordinance number 24-1126. City Manager Domer, please call forward the staff member who will be reporting on this.
I am very pleased to have, for the first time in Laverne, Captain Travis Tibbetts
All right,
provide
Captain
his
Tibbetts.
presentation. It is the first time. Please go nicely.
Yes. Take your time. Happy birthday.
Yeah, really. More than we needed to know, but thank you.
Yes, before I start, Councilmember Cash convinced me to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Captain Tibbetts,
really well.
thank you, sir. I appreciate
We're
that.
well in your first 100
I'm not
days.
80, 68. I'm not going to take that.
You look great.
12 years, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Hepburn, members of City Council, city staff, and members of the public. Thank you for allowing me to speak today regarding Assembly Bill 481 and its impact on our city. As you may know, AB 481 was enacted in 2021 to increase transparency, accountability, and oversight over law enforcement agencies' acquisition and use of military equipment in California. This legislation requires law enforcement agencies to seek approval from the governing body, in this case our city council, annually before funding, acquiring, or using specific military equipment. Under AB 481, law enforcement agencies must do the following: develop a military equipment use policy, which we have done. Submit an annual report that has been posted. Submit an annual report which has been posted on our police department's website since January 13th, 2025 for this one coming up. Engage in a public process and review and renew the policy annually. AB 481 balances public safety with civil liberties, ensuring law enforcement agencies use public-grade equipment responsibly and transparently. Adopting and implementing this policy fosters trust between law enforcement and the community while maintaining necessary public safety measures. AB 481 is important in reinforcing public trust and ensuring responsible governance over military equipment use. I appreciate your time and consideration in reviewing this policy and look forward to working together to enhance our community and public confidence. This evening, we seek the City Council's approval of the Police Department's military equipment use policy to receive and file the staff report and adopt a resolution approving the continuance of the Laverne Police Department Policy 701 as required pursuant to AB 481. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Captain Tibbetts. I think we'll go to public comment and then bring it back up if we have any questions. Right now, we'll open up public comment. Anybody wish to speak on this item? That would be a no, a big no. Then we'll close public comment. And thank you. I mean, it's a lot of information to digest, but it's nice to know that we have some arsenal of good things that protect our citizens and ultimately protect the officers that go out to use them. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Tibbetts. And a nice presentation. Thank you for number one. So very good. Any comments from, please, Councilmember Crosby?
Yes, I just appreciate LVPD and their compliance with this this law, but appreciate the equipment that we have to protect our citizens, and then also especially the items to protect our officers, the drones, the robot, the Bearcat, so that making sure our officers safe in a dire need situation. So appreciate the council for approving to purchase those in the first place and making sure we have those for our officers and our residents.
Thank you.
And happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you, Councilmember Crosby. Anybody wish comments on these on this item? Anybody else wish to comment?
I was just going to say thank you for the report. I know it was extensive, so I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at it. But as a layperson who does not get to play with these toys, I appreciate the rationale and the information about when and how these are used. And I do appreciate that because I know that in this climate, it's good for the understanding of the public when and why these things are being used. So I appreciate that, and I think that if any further education or enlightenment that can be provided to the community about when and how we use it, how we partner with other agencies. I think that's important for people to know. Otherwise, people might just look at a list and think, I don't know what that's for. But I appreciate the thoroughness of the report. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lau.
Oh, and happy birthday, Tim.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, any comments?
Happy birthday.
Well, actually, I do appreciate it's interesting to see what we do have in the arsenal, and I think that we do also need to appropriate more, especially for drones. I think they're one of the things that we have a few, we need more, and we need larger drones to cover more areas. So I know that we have a very fiscally responsible city manager, but I think those things can go where no one can go. Dogs, four-wheel drive vehicles, motorcycles, those drones are the most effective, I would say, to find out what's going on in our community and lending them out to other agencies when we do have an issue with other agencies. So, Mr. Domer? Yeah.
I was just going to say, if residents are wanting to get more information, there's always the Residents Academy that the police department puts on at times. Also, the National Night Out. So a lot of opportunities and a very nice new website that will have this information on there too.
Very good. Good plug. Very good. With that, is there a motion to adopt resolution approving the continuance of the Laverne Police Department Policy 701 as required pursuant to AB 481? Motion. Second. Second.
That was a motion for the birthday?
I don't know. It's already there. You don't need a motion for that one. I'm getting older by the second, Cash. Will you get this thing done?
I second the motion to approve the resolution and have birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Vote, please. Yeah.
Item 10 was moved by Castelfagita, seconded by Crosby, and approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Next is the local hazard mitigation update for the award contract. City Manager Jomer, please call for the staff member who will be reporting on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Going to call forward Fire Chief Chris Nigg, and Andrea Blockinger will be available for assistance.
Good evening, Chief Nigg, again.
Good evening. Long time no see. Mayor, council members, and community members, tonight I'm going to provide a brief overview of the local hazard mitigation plan, its importance, the requirements for maintaining a valid plan, and the City of Laverne's approach to updating ours, including our selected vendor and funding strategy. A local hazard mitigation plan is a strategic document that identifies potential hazards, outlines measures to reduce risk, and the impact of disasters such as wildfires, earthquakes, floods, or other man or human-caused emergencies. This plan serves as a proactive approach to safeguarding life, property, and infrastructure before disasters strike. So why is a local hazard mitigation plan important? A well-prepared mitigation plan reduces the potential loss of life and property damage by implementing preventative measures. Having a mitigation strategy in place enables the city to recover more quickly after disasters. A FEMA-approved local hazard mitigation plan is a requirement for receiving federal disaster relief funding and grants, including those from the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program. Finally, the plan ensures that new development projects are resilient to local hazards, reducing future risk. FEMA requirements that you heard me just speak of. FEMA mandates that all local hazard mitigation plans must, number one, identify potential natural and human-caused hazards, assess the potential risks and impacts of these hazards on the community, develop mitigation strategies to minimize risks, include public participation and stakeholder engagement, and be reviewed and updated every 5 years to remain valid and eligible for federal funding. Without an updated FEMA-approved LHMP, the acronym for Local Hazard Mitigation Plan, Laverne would be ineligible for key disaster relief and mitigation grants, which could significantly impact our ability to prepare for and recover from emergencies. Our current hazard mitigation plan is from 2012, wildly outdated, and it's been something that's been on my radar for a while, as well as City Manager Ken Domer and Andrea Blockinger, who was very successful in getting our grant. Laverne Locals Hazard Mitigation
Over
update.
there, the speechwriter. Andrea, stand up so you know who you are. Come on, stand up. There you go.
To ensure compliance with FEMA requirements, the City of Laverne has selected Black & Veatch to assist with the local hazard mitigation plan update. The vendor was chosen based on expertise, cost effectiveness, experience, flexibility, area familiarization, time to completion, and successful track record with numerous surrounding local municipalities. The project will be funded by a FEMA local hazard mitigation plan, which ultimately will net us $164,295 of federal grant money, which is administered through the California Office of Emergency Services and inclusive of the entire cost ultimately to complete the whole project. This approach ensures the city meets FEMA's requirements while responsibly managing our financial resources. In summary, the local hazard mitigation plan is a critical tool for safeguarding our community, maintaining eligibility for federal funding, and ensuring a resilient future. By updating our plan with the expertise of Black and Veatch and leveraging appropriate federal funding sources, Laverne is taking the necessary steps to enhance preparedness and protect our residents. And before I hand it over to you for any questions, I would like to point out all the work that went into this on behalf of Andrea Blockinger, it was her all of her effort going into the very complex grant application process that ultimately got us to this point. So with that, I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Chief, and Andrea, thank you very much. That's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of effort, but your success rate's really high now. We really appreciate that, and you're doing a great job. I think we'll open up public comment, Chief, first. If there's any public comment on this item, please come to the mic. Mr. Owen, please come up.
I guess it's my night. By the way, I didn't say you were 80. I said you look good for 80.
That's okay. I stand corrected. No 12 years, please.
My question is, why now? I understand that this is important, and I certainly support the LV fire department. But as noted here, this was updated last in 2012. We have 4 months left in our current budget year, correct? Ends in June? Yes? Okay. So we have 4 months left in our current budget, and suddenly we have $158,000, almost $159,000. I don't know how we're doing towards our budget, but it would seem logical that this would be included in next year's budget, which you're starting to plan very soon. Also, the fact that it's a FEMA grant, and I'm hearing all the time about grants not being paid now. So is there a clawback? If we applied for the grant, I assume it was a while ago, and if for some reason, as I've heard in the news, FEMA decides not to pay it, are we stuck for the $158,000 contract? Or does the vendor say, hey, the grant didn't come through, you didn't get the money, you don't owe us? So a stop payment in essence. But mostly the timing. It seems like July 1st, it should be in next year's budget. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? We'll go ahead and close public comment. Chief, you want to respond to
that? As it relates to what budget it would live in, I'm not entirely sure what the nexus there would be. The performance period for this grant goes all the way to October of 2027, which means that's the time that we have to complete the hazard mitigation plan in its entirety. Plans take upwards of 6 to 9 months to develop. It's a very complex process that includes stakeholder input and analysis and everything else. Then it has to go off to Cal OES, which is a dynamic that really nobody can project before it ultimately gets adopted by our city and then into the city's general plan. So, we could start it now. Like I said, we have 3 years to ultimately get the.
When did Ms. Blockinger get the grant approved and the paperwork?
It was in October, correct?
October?
Yeah, October 2024 was when we were notified that we had been approved, and then we had Andrea put together the RFP, which went out, and then ultimately we received how many inquiries? 5 inquiries, and then that process led to a grading system and ultimately face-to-face interviews virtually until we selected the appropriate vendor. As it relates to grants, there was a brief period where all grants were stopped.
2 days.
Yeah, very brief.
2 days.
And that affected even our local UOC and Homeland Security grants for the police departments and the fire departments in the county. But as I understand it, everything related to public safety and hazard mitigation and all that is effectively free flowing again.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, on that issue, we will not bring anything to you for award if we do not have the money already appropriated. So, as Fire Chief Nigg said, this was a grant that we were notified back in October. The RFP for it would have been months and months before that. And so now bringing it forward, we have the money in hand. We know it. Yes, there was that pause. We don't fear that the money will go away, especially on this program, especially for some of the reasons that the pause was put into place. And so, how it will be is when we get the check, we will then either have a resolution to change the budget, or either be through mid-year, or even it may be in the next year. Just depends on when this gets going and when we start paying. So, but the good thing is that there's no general fund money. It is all the federal grant.
All a FEMA
we are
grant.
Well overdue on having this updated, and it's going to be a benefit to this community because they keep on changing the rules and regulations, and this allows us to apply for other grants going forward. So this is a major need to get it done and over with, implemented, and then we're eligible for other funding that will benefit the community.
The primary goal of this is exactly that. Not only cost recovery when there are disasters on the backside, but then also grants leading up to so that we can implement the recommendations that are made in the hazard mitigation plan so that reduces our vulnerability.
Very good.
So our last plan was last updated in 2012. And there's been many things we go out and to get plans, and it takes multiple years for it to come back because, like you said, it is very complex. When do you foresee this coming back to us that's been developed and finalized?
So it's not listed here. Each one of the vendors that responded to the RFP provided a timeline. I think the shortest timeline we saw was 8 months, 9 months. Yeah, why don't you come up, Andrea? But ultimately, all of them essentially said really about the same thing, which was 9 months upwards to produce the plan, and there was the dynamic.
Yeah, there was a process and a timeline. The process, it was fairly short.
One thing I wanted to add to that as well is in 2023, FEMA updated their requirements for a hazard mitigation plan, and that required very extensive outreach with the community. So throughout the year, you're going to be hearing about this plan probably more than you would even like to hear about it. We're going to be developing a steering committee where residents can help guide this process. There's going to be at least 3 workshops in the community. We're going to be doing virtual sessions, sending out surveys, but presenting it again to council, as Chief said, in about 9 months, 12 months. So by the end of the year, you'll hear from us.
Much quicker than the last one, especially like we had on our consent calendar was the general plan too to come a year.
2017.
So appreciate that and appreciate the making it go faster.
Yeah, I want to say that this is timely. It's perfect timing to get this grant, and hopefully it opens the doors for other grants. But as we've seen in the devastation in these other communities, we need to be ready as we can be. And some communities weren't, and this is a testament to say, okay, Laverne, here you are. Let's do it. Let's get our ducks in a row. Let's make sure that our resources are proper. And then if we need to address that, as Mr. Bowen pointed out, we need to adjust our budgets to make sure we have the resources available, or get more grant money, which is even better. So, but
if I can touch on that, just for context, the general plan is a very global, holistic plan for the city. This hazard mitigation plan will ultimately be adopted to go live in with the plan from the safety component. And respective to the other question that Mr. Bowen had, can't speak to why it took so long to get it updated. When I came on board and Bob was the city manager, Bob Russi, we talked about it, and there was an intent even back at that point. The reality is that, as you can see, these are very expensive to do. Consultants cost a lot of money, so we had discussions about moving forward with the plan, but obviously the goal was to seek funding from the federal government, and that's how we got it.
Well, plus you have staff in place now that are going to be able to do this very well and get it out to the public. But also, we had 2 fire stations, only 2, not 3. We had a lot of things going on, and we were in a much better position than we were before. So,
Hey, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I want to reiterate that part of the reason, so Andrea's position was she started as that part-time clerical support. She got her MPA.
we soon remedied that.
We hired her on. She's been a wonderful asset. And really, this city has not pursued grants in legislative items like we do now, and it is largely because of the position that you guys approved and Andrea going at it with don't get in her way. So, but also this has been strongly supported by multiple departments. So not just within the fire department with Lonnie Shipman and Fred St. Ange, but in Public Works with Joe Vieira and Colin Purdy. And, going forward, there's going to be a lot of interdepartmental communication. And that's a great thing. So,
Plus, I think also our affiliations with the COG and with their Firewise programs that we're doing and working with them, I think that helps a lot. I hope they've been helpful to you, because that's just, and CalCog soon, hopefully that helps too. So we can get those things going to be able to go into the future and get more and more of these. Of course, with the talent pool we have, it's just amazing. So there you go. Okay, thank you guys very much. Any other questions or comments for staff? By the way, I appreciate the bidding process. I've always said before, you did it well, you explained it well, we were able to read it, understand, and even if the price was a little more, there was an explanation of why, and that's important. Yeah. The technical skills and also the supportive staff that overviewed the contractors was very extensive, and I appreciate that, because we really took our time to look at it and pick out which was the best fit for us and for staff, and that's very important to have a cohesive group. So kudos to you guys. So
thank you.
With that, is there a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement and any amendments related hereto with Black & Veatch at prices bid with an estimated cost of $158,575 for the update to the local hazard mitigation plan, and to approve resolution titled A Resolution of the City Council, City of Laverne, California, amending fiscal year 2024-25 adopted budget in the amount of $158,575 for local hazard mitigation plan update. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second. Vote, please.
Item 11 was moved by Crosby, seconded by Lau, and approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, staff. The final item is a resolution requesting the local agency formation commission to initiate proceedings for the reorganization of 406 Baseline Road. City manager, please call forward the staff member who will be reporting. Would that be Principal Planner of Bocock?
Oh, I would say it's going to be Principal Planner Candace Bocock.
There you go. Hey, Patty, you didn't have to say anything tonight. They got it all. You got it. Welcome, Principal Planner Bocock.
Good evening,
Please, you have
Mr.
the
Mayor
floor.
and council members. Tonight I'm presenting a resolution requesting the Local Agency Formation Commission, or what we're going to call LAFCO, to initiate proceedings for the annexation of 406 Baseline Road into the city of Laverne. This resolution is a necessary next step following the council's approval of this annexation in October of 2023, with Resolution 23-68 and Ordinance Number 1120, which allowed for the annexation of this vacant residential parcel from unincorporated Los Angeles County into the city of Laverne. The property is currently outside the city's jurisdiction but falls within Laverne's sphere of influence. The property owner has requested this annexation in order to access Laverne's water services and develop a single-family residence on the site. Following the council's approval, LAFCO reviewed our annexation request and determined that an additional resolution from the city is required before they can formally initiate their proceedings. That's why we're here tonight, to take the next step in finalizing the annexation process. From an environmental perspective, this project still qualifies for a categorical exemption through CEQA. Therefore, it's recommended that the City Council adopt the resolution titled, A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Laverne, California, requesting the Local Agency Formation Commission for the County of Los Angeles to initiate proceedings for organization of territory. I am happy to answer any questions you have of staff, and the property owner is also here if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Principal Planner Bocock. I would open up public comment on this. Anybody wish to speak on this item? That would be a no. We're going to close public comment, bring it back up to the dais. Any questions or comments for staff?
I just want to say thank you to Candace and the planning department. I know we have welcomed this property and this family multiple times to Laverne, and I know that you have gone through this, and you're probably really tired of going through this, and I can see that in your faces as well. LAFCO makes up their own choices later on, but we want to make sure and hopefully to approve this tonight and welcome you back in Laverne again.
And what's the word? Build, baby, build? Build, baby, build. Yes.
And happy birthday to you.
This is a process, and we understand, but we're looking forward to the final resolution of this. You guys can move on and get that thing built and have a wonderful place there. And so with that, any other comments, council? With that, is there a motion to adopt resolution titled, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Laverne, California, requesting the Local Agency Formation Commission for the County of Los Angeles to initiate proceedings for reorganization of territory? Do I have a motion?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote, please.
Item 12 was moved by Lau, seconded by Crosby, and approved 5-0.
Congratulations. Thank you, guys. Good luck. Make sure we have a party when it's done, okay? There is no other business tonight, so we move on to public comments and oral communications. This is the time set aside for anyone wishing to address the City Council on items not listed on the agenda or within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. I want to remind everyone that the Brown Act prohibits the City Council from engaging in discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. However, your concerns may be referred to staff or placed for discussion at a later date. There is a 3-minute time limit on public comments. At this time, those wishing to make comments and are present here at the chamber can come up to the podium. Mr. Perry, you have the mic. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. I already love you. Yeah. I live on Peyton Road behind Bonita High School. It used to be a very quiet street. You could sleep at night and get along with everybody. But recently, the pool, there's a man there that likes to excess his voice, and we can hear it all the way on 8th Street, causing my 2 dogs to go nuts because it's just, I don't know why he's yelling at the kids that are right in the pool. I don't understand that. I don't know if it's the city or I have to go to Laverne College to figure out who's doing what. So that's one. Secondly, pickleball. I love it, but not in my backyard. They're playing it at 10 o'clock at night. They're there at 6:30 in the morning, and my wife and I got to close all the doors, get that ball back and forth, and the language is out of sight. I never heard some foul language in my life. I'm a truck driver. They can put it to shame, those people that are playing. So we need some kind of resolution to quiet the street back like it used to be. Folks on the street have asked me to come. I think I'm the quiet one, but I am. And the third one is, I see the police chief still here?
Yep.
I was here before about the issue on D Street, the cars blocking Peyton Road. They came out and they widened the thing. Now they can park 2 cars in there, and we still can't get out. We still can't get in. I was told that there would be presence of the Laverne Police Department. I've yet to see them. I've checked with the neighbors, yet to see them. The kids get out of school on Bonita Bearcat Road. They fly out of there. The light's green, and they're still coming out. It's getting to be a mess over there. I have to go to doctor at 8. I have to get up at 7 so I can get out to go. Those are the 3 issues that the people on the street are. We're used to quiet, and right now it's not quiet. I mean, the language. And that guy at the pool, anybody can come over to my house at 6 o'clock and you'll see what we're talking about. We have the water thing there, and it just echoes. And it's one of the main group beefs. So I told him I'd come and see what happens. And next time there might be more of us. So a lot of seniors on there. My wife's 69 years at that house. And she does not like closing the door. She likes them wide open. So got to make her happy. She's not happy. I'm not happy. I thank you for your
happy wife, happy life.
Definitely with her. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can get together. I've talked
Is
to
there a
Rick.
particular time when that gentleman at the pool around.
He starts at 6 o'clock, and I don't know why
6 o'clock in the morning or in the
yeah,
evening?
6 o'clock in the morning.
6 a.m.
And his voice carries all the way. I can hear him on 8th Street yelling at whoever is in the pool. You know, it's bad enough we lost the pool. It's bad enough the dedication sign is gone, that the pool is dedicated to the people of Laverne. We can't get into it or use it. But now we got to put up with the noise. It's kind of, not right. I don't mind him there, quiet. I thought 7 o'clock was time they could start doing stuff, but he's there at 6 yelling. And pickleball's going until 10 o'clock sometimes at night. And then we have soccer behind there 2 nights a week. And that's kind of noisy also. But they're playing until 9:30. They bring their own lights. Peyton Road's not a quiet street no more. That's it. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Mr. Perry. Appreciate that.
All
Well, you have all ears on it, so.
All right.
Thank you. Anyone wish for more public comment? Mr. Bowen.
Again, hello. Sorry to take more time, but I'm going to read this first. Per your own rules, it says public comments can be submitted through email, and I did that last week, so I didn't have, or last meeting, so I didn't have to come. And by the way, pardon me, I identified you as District 4 and you as District 5, so apologize for that. But I sent a note to both Cash and and the mayor, and copied Ken. It read as follows: for many years, over 15 at least, a large portion of northern Laverne has had terrible mobile service. This has been an issue for many residents for a long, long time. Also, in many cases, vendors cannot use their phones or internet connections to work in this area. I've experienced that a lot, and I'm sure those of you who live up there have too. The recent power outage put a focus on this problem from a safety issue. With no power and limited phone service, residents of northern Laverne were put in great danger, quite frankly. No power. I love it. The internet says go to the internet. If you don't have power, you don't have internet, last time I checked. So I'm requesting the city immediately address getting a tower or something or any other system to offer normal mobile service in this crucial area of the city. All other areas of the city have great mobile service. Why not us? It's been a running joke for years. It's no longer a joke, but a potential crucial lifeline for many citizens up there. Please request the city immediately arrange for the safety of all Laverne residents. Respectfully, Richard Bowen, 42-year resident. And I was told it was going to be read and put in the minutes, and it was not, so that's why I'm reading it now.
That was my fault for not doing it,
Well,
but we
Mr.
were supposed to
Domer
put it in the
got
minutes,
copied,
so I do apologize. That is a serious issue.
Okay, but it is. And there's
It's very serious.
Starlink, there's other things now. And this is not kidding. You drive a Wheeler, you turn on Birdie, and you might as well hang up. If you're driving up Esperanza, you hit the bottom of the hill, you're gone. In an emergency, I sat for 48 hours with no power and limited phone service. If something radical happens up there, it's going to be bad. So everybody knows it. You need to do something. I've heard all the excuses that, well, you have to get Verizon. The city manager said, well, call your mobile company. Bull. The city needs to help us. We've called Verizon. We've called those people for years. I've heard people say, we'll get another carrier. Well, that's great. Have somebody come to your house, and they can't do their work. City workers can't do their work sometimes because they can't connect. So it's time to do something. 15, 20 years is long enough. Okay, I'm done with that. Sorry. Also, I want to just go through. Does this sound Rite Aid, 99-cent store, Big Lots, Tuesday morning, and soon to be Joann's Fabrics and Staples? These are all sales tax generators that are either closed in the last year or so or closing in the very near future. What are we doing to replace a tax base? We put in gyms that don't generate taxes, sales tax. So we've lost 6 of these companies, and we're losing tax base to this city. Who's in charge of new company development for the city of Laverne? I have no clue. I don't know if you guys do. Somebody needs to be a salesperson for this city. And we keep hearing, I heard a story about the Rite Aid building, that Chick-fil-A wanted to go in there. My God, you talk about a tax base. But I heard Carl Jr., it's in their contract, they said no. There's rumors about Trader Joe's going into Staples. But again, it's all rumors. It'd be great to get some feedback from the city on what's happening for replacing these tax-based businesses. Finally, I've talked to Tim a couple of times about a city town hall. I come to these meetings, obviously, and during public comments, we kid and say, we've met with the Mount Rushmore look, because you can't respond. If it's not an agenda item, you can't. You talk about the Brown Act. But citizens want to ask questions, and they would love to interact with their elected officials to hear their feedback instead of coming in here, me making speeches like this, getting absolutely nothing back, and trying to get addressed issues like this. So I plead with you, I'm asking you again, can the city put together some sort of quarterly, maybe town hall with 2 or less of you, right? It has to be because of the Brown Act, but where you could just take general questions from residents that are wondering about various things, a variety of things. It doesn't seem that would be that tough. So again, I ask you to consider doing that. Somebody, please, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Anyone else wish to speak on public comment? We're going to go ahead and close public comment. Bring it back to the dais. Councilmember Lau.
Sure. So I just wanted to follow up a little bit on what Happy Birthday Tim had said earlier about the swearing in of Gil Cisneros, and I just wanted to give him kudos because, yes, he did a good job presenting the speech that Andrew wrote, but he also did a good job plugging our city and making sure that people were spending money here before they left. Target, yes, that people went to Target. That's all Tim. But it was, all kidding aside, it was a really nice event, and it was a really good opportunity for electeds to get to know each other, particularly because of the climate that we're in. We need to be able to work together to get things done. So thank you. So, just wanted to make a couple of notifications. There is a Tri-City meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Those of you who were here during the study session met Anson Placide, who's our new executive director. And so I highly encourage folks to get involved with Tri-City. You may have heard that there has been a change in funding that allows for funding to be used. And so we want to hear from our stakeholders in terms of how do we want to see that funding utilized. So please take a look at the website. There are ways to make your voice heard, even if you can't come to the meeting itself. There's also a YFAC meeting next Tuesday at 5 p.m., and that's open to everyone as well, and that happens in this room. So if anyone is interested in opining or participating in the Youth and Family Action Committee, please feel free to do so. And you're grinning at me. We are having one, right? Like I'm not. Okay, thank you. And then last but not least, I just wanted to throw out a couple of thank yous and recognitions to Chief Gonzalez. He came to our CASI meeting, beginning of the month, and did a great job explaining the role of the police, particularly in this fraught time where folks are concerned about, ICE or immigration and what is or isn't allowed or what's, legal or not. I think, Chief, you did such a good job making those explanations and answering questions and helping to allay fear. So I really want to highlight that we are in a special place where our police are part of the community and really are part of that outreach. And I want to thank Cassie for having that invite out to him and showing that partnership. And just most recently, I just wanted to say I wanted to acknowledge and say thank you to Jay Alvarado from the police department. He got some accolades from Anson Placide tonight about how well our homeless outreach works with Tri-City. And I think that speaks volumes about the type of people that work here and live here who are compassionate human beings and care about others. So thank you. Please relay my thanks. And thank you again for all that you do. So happy February. Can't believe it's already mid-Feb. Happy post-Valentine's Day. Hope you all had a good one. Happy rest of the month. So thank you. And as always, be kind to each other.
Thank you, Councilman Morel. Councilmember Crosby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and happy birthday. Cash is going to get to 68 tonight. Last Friday, I just want to thank our Recreation Department and Director Yvonne Duran. We had the Sweetheart Dance for our special needs. The dance prior to this had approximately 90 people that went there. On Friday, there were 130 people there, and it was very well attended. It was very well run. Thank you for those giving up their Valentine's dance to make these awesome individuals a great Valentine. So really do appreciate it. The next dance is on August 10th, the Luau dance. It was handed out. The one worrisome of me is that there were 45 tickets sold pre, and the rest were sold at the door. We got to get people to buy them beforehand because the capacity is going to get full, and we don't want someone to come up thinking they're going to be going to a dance and then they can't because it's full. So, but a great job that our rec department's doing. Holly did an amazing job tonight showcasing the new website. When I was going through it on my phone, one piece stuck out, and it's a service that we do, and our residents don't know always about the service, is the vacation house check service. The form is there on your phone website. You have to turn that form in person to LVPD, and then our great RSVPs will come around and check on your house if you're away on vacation to make sure everything is good. They don't feed pets. You can't there, but they would check on yours. That was written in there, so I want to make sure they don't do that. But I want to make sure that's known. On February 6th, I want to thank the birthday mayor for appointing me and reappointing me to the LA County Public Library Commission with the LA County Selection Committee. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. For our next meeting is tomorrow, so I really appreciate it, and I'm still on it. The Boy Scouts fundraiser, Blaze Pizza, February 28th, and Rubio's March 26th, if the people weren't on earlier today. And then my last shout out is to our finance department. Christy and your whole department is doing an amazing job. I know when I call and ask for things, you gave me answers right away. Really do appreciate your answering back same day. Really appreciate everything that you're doing. I know it is not an easy job, and appreciate you in the finance department. You help keep this city keep running. So really do appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Crosby. Councilmember Cash.
Well,
oh, thank you. That's it.
No,
Steve.
No, not today, Mayor. Wait, you got one more year of me and fun. Did you say Steve? Okay, well,
no,
you know what?
I said Councilmember Cash. It's all you.
Maestro, thank you so much. I want to take my time. Oh, yeah, buddy. You're not going to let go of this one. Would you take one, please?
You sure you don't want me to take this?
No, it's okay. You know what?
Get it over with.
You can't unelect me, buddy. There you go. All right, we can put some here, just a little bit here. just get some support from my audience. If you guys can, just indulge me or my comments. I want to say thank you God for everything we have. I want to have the
Thank God for
opportunity.
me.
Yeah, man, you need a whole lot of
My
Jesus,
mom
but
thanks
that's
God for
okay.
me.
But you know what I do? I thank you, right? Thank you for
Yes.
the whole year for just always your support, man. Birthdays are important to me because it's 1 year around the sun, and your family and friends. So at this time, we're gonna wish the mayor a happy birthday, and that will get me to 69. So that's 1 year.
Oh.
That's 1 year. That'll get me to the 68 plus one, because just in case. And we'll do that. All right. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tim. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cash. You're crazy, but I love you, man. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
How do you follow that?
I don't know. Here, you may want to wave that around.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for all attending, and Mr. Bone, we do take everything you say serious. There are some serious issues we need to deal with, but it takes more than just a phone call. It takes a lot of planning and organization. But there are some serious issues, especially with our. I'm very concerned about the economic development, and I know we're going to be working on that very hard. We've got, unfortunately, our .com and our Amazon has basically put to bed many of these businesses. And we got some big box stores. I'd love to see food courts. I'd like to see, a Tractor Supply. I'd like to see a Chick-fil-A, and I think we're going to seriously start working on those things and we are part of the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, which they do a very good job. And when we were at our swearing-in ceremony, I had a very serious conversation with the Economic Partnership CEO, and we have some friends on there now from previous administrations that Matthew Lyons is now one of the people on the Economic Partnership, and I made it abundantly clear that all of the San Gabriel Valley needs some help, and we need to bring in those people and those landowners that have this, and bring in some good vendors, whether it be clothing stores, whether it be retail outlets. We need to fill the space because we need the tax base, no question about it, and it's a very serious issue. But with that, you have one more? Go ahead.
I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. I just want to say thank you to Public Works, Cody, and all of you folks who helped deal with Lake Lordsburg in the Lordsburg Homeowners Association the other night.
Lake Lordsburg.
Yes.
I would say like 6 to 10 inches of rain.
It was,
water.
it was deep. So thank you for all your help in making sure that community was taken care of. So please relay my thanks to Public Works.
Thank you. And don't forget, the back of the agenda has all the upcoming events. Tomorrow is a Recycling and Organics Public Workshop, commercial and multifamily residential at City Hall at 5 o'clock p.m. Very exciting. You need to be here. And also Tuesday, February 25th, next week, Ad Hoc Water and Sewer Rate Study Committee meeting at City Hall. And you can look on there. But any questions or concerns, please get a hold of our city. Mr. Domer, do you have anything else that you want to report on before I move to the next item? I can do that.
No, sir. Yep. Closed session.
With that, our next regular city council meeting will be Monday, March 3rd. Study session and our closed session will start at 5:30 p.m. and the regular meeting will start at 6:30 p.m. As a reminder, upcoming events, again, are posted on the last page of the agenda. At this time, we will recess into closed session. Assistant City Attorney Porter, do you expect any report out from council on the items, and can you please read the closed session items for the record?
I do not anticipate that there will be anything to disclose, but I will indicate that there are 2 items. We've got the conference with labor negotiators, government 54.957.6, and conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to government section 956.9.
Very good. Thank you very much. Before we go into closed session, anyone wishing to speak or address the city council on the items, we'll open up public comment. And anybody wish to speak on the closed session items? I didn't think so. With that, we recess into closed session. We will not be reporting out. Thank you all tonight for attendance. We are adjourning at we are recessing at 8:29 p.m. Thank you all. Boom.